many did you save?
Just like a dream.
You did the only thing you could do. And you lost.
Like a dream.
Look, we're still in this thing.
The day you walked away.
But we have no idea what we're dealing with.
Unfortunately.
Things are getting worse around here, aren't they?
Boyd, we're out of food.
Too many things are changing. I have to remember.
Remember what?
What's missing?
Here is rigged. Why can't they leave us alone?
No matter what this place throws at us, we're gonna find our way home.
Everybody just talks about how afraid they are of dying. Well, I don't think that's the worst thing that can happen to you here.
Hello?
Like a dream.
You looking for these?
Into my life.
You can't save them all.
But things are really how they seem.
A bus pulls into the town. We have new people who are really, really scared.
We got this one,
Mario.
Christy's fiance. We got Elgin.
He starts seeing dreams and stuff.
The house falls down.
Marielle, Christy, kiss, haircut.
Gets possessed by some dimension of the town.
Then you've got Boyd in a chamber?
Boyd has to get out of the chamber. He meets Martin. Martin gives him worms.
Found out Sarah took my dad's life.
Everyone hates Sarah.
Then Tabitha is trapped in the tunnels.
Victor helped Tabitha escape from the tunnels.
Tabitha's having visions of ghost children that are taken somewhere. Jade's having visions of a symbol.
And he's trying to figure out what the symbol is.
Randall and I just fight, and then he ties me to a tree.
He actually starts to see a ballerina. Who knows why?
And there's this music box that puts everybody to sleep, which is supposed to, but then when they go to sleep, now they're getting tortured. It's like a nightmare that never ends.
We are kidnapped, us and Marielle.
Yes.
What is this place? Is it a simulation? Is it an experiment?
Then what happens?
Pregnant.
Pregnant.
We get married.
Oh, yeah.
And his wife shows up and he has to deal with her again. But eventually he gets rid of his wife. He gets rid of the worms.
Gives them to the monster, kills Smiley, gives me a blood transfusion.
I tell Boyd he has to break the music box.
He destroys the music box.
People wake up.
And he saves the town. But not really.
Little boy pushed me, and then I end up in the hospital.
Boom, boom, boom.
People are still trapped in a town full of monsters.
And there we have it, folks. A nice little brand spanking new Season 2 recap promo that From has just released today. And I love it. I mean, don't you love it how even Kenny is pointing out the disastrous haircut from poor Christy. The haircut, that damn haircut, right, Doc? The damn haircut. I know, right, Vic? It's not a haircut. It's a tragedy. Indeed, indeed, indeed. But welcome, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all to a special edition of Fromville Friday. TGIFF. Thank God it is Fromville Friday. And tonight we are going to be diving into all things from Season 3 and all seasons, of course, and also taking a special look at Victor's storyline for Season 3, and in particular, what kind of lost memories will Victor be uncovering this season? Because it seems like, based off the trailers and based off the synopsis of Season 3's episodes, it looks like Victor is going to be on a hunt in Season 3 to recover some lost memories. And I think that means we are going to have some very interesting reveals coming through Victor's POV this season. Yikes, oh my God, that mullet somehow got even worse, even more horrifying. I did see a lot of people pointing that out, like somehow the haircut seemed to get even worse between Seasons 2 and 3. I guess we'll have to see. I guess we shall have to see. But again, welcome everybody. So glad to see each and every one of you. I hope everyone is enjoying their Friday evening, getting ready for the weekend. The weekend is here, ladies and gents. The weekend is here. Kick back your feet, roll up a joint of your finest, and enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself, or pour yourself a glass of the finest, whatever you partake in. That is totally cool. But so glad to have everyone here. Let me scroll up here a bit. Let's see who we got in the chat. Some of our early arrivals. We got Ando first in the chat. What is up, Ando? Good to see you, my friend. Jeremy Ice and Fire is back. Back like I stole something. Back like I stole something. We got Chicago Made Gaming and Media. What is up, Chicago Made? Good to see you, my friend. What up, y'all? What is up indeed? What is up indeed? We got Zapatane Kaboom in the house. What is up? Awesome name. I love it. Love seeing some new names in the chat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Wild Majorum in the house. Diesel Punk, what is up? Hello, everyone. Finally made it to the beginning of one of these, though I will be in and out during it. Well, that is totally fine. Awesome to have you here this evening and hanging out with us for a little bit. Most welcome. Most welcome. We got Julie B. Deep Dives. What is up, Julie B? Awesome to see you, my friend. We're going to see if we can get Julie B up to 100 subs this evening. That would be an awesome goal. I know she's getting closer and closer to cracking that 100 subscriber mark, which really is one of the first kind of awesome milestones that you hit when first starting out a YouTube channel. I remember when I first had my first 100 subscribers. It's not much in the grand scheme of things, of course, but it feels good. It's a milestone, and it's an accomplishment. It's something to aim for. Then you aim for the next 100 and the next 100, and slowly but surely you start building up an audience. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Julie's going to be doing over on her channel. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see who else we got. We got Doc Hayes in the house. What is up, Doc Hayes? It is good to see you, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So many questions, indeed, so many questions heading into From Season 3. And I cannot wait to see what answers they have in store for us. I mean, it does look like we have some answers coming in Season 3, although I imagine they're not going to give everything away, obviously. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do decide to give us this season, because it does look like we are going to be getting some kind of reveals. So yeah, bring on the answers. Bring on the answers for Season 3. We got Vic in the house. What is up, Vic? Good to see you as well, my friend. We got David Mills in the building. What is up, David? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Soze Mania. What is up, Soze? Good to see you as well. Love it. Got Debbie in the house as well. What is up, Debbie? I hope you are doing well this evening. I hope everybody is doing well this evening, or this afternoon, or this morning, wherever you are tuning in from, of course. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Soph in the house, the one and only Sophie L. What is up, Soph? Good to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. Hope you guys are doing well. We got Michael DJ in the house. What is up, Mike? We got Xavier Anderson in the building. We got Robert Saunders in the house. What is up, Robert? Always good to see you guys. Always good to see you guys. Everybody's here. Love to see it. Love to see it. We got Morgana in the house. What is up, Morgana? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you as well. I see Tyler B is in the building. Howdy, folks. I'm here, but also yelling at the TV, hoping it makes the Eagles lose. There you go, my friend. There you go. Sports season is upon us. I am counting down the days for the NBA season to officially kick off again and see my Boston Celtics go for that repeat title. I think they can do it. I think my Celtics can do it again. I think they can do it again. We got Susie in the house. What is up, Susie Greenberg? Good to see you as well. Welcome, welcome. I see Katie Joe is in the building. What is up, Katie Joe? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good to see everyone this evening. I see Too Tall down there as well. What is up, Too Tall? Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. What's up? Been watching the other analysis. First time watching live. Oh, wow. Well, thank you. That is awesome. Welcome to the live chat. So glad to have you here. It's always awesome. I know sometimes we pretty much go live at pretty late hours. And there's a reason for that. There's a lot of other channels that cover From and stream, and from what I can tell, a lot of the streams usually are a little bit earlier. So I try to set my streams a little bit later in the day, just because there's usually nobody streaming around that time. And it's a little bit easier for me schedule-wise as well to go a little bit late. But once From Season 3 actually does start, I will definitely be doing some earlier streams at some earlier time periods to help accommodate some other time zones. Because I know I've been getting tons of comments from people in other time zones that just can't unfortunately make the lives because of the time issue. So I'm definitely going to start doing some earlier streams once Season 3 gets here to hopefully accommodate some other time zones. So we will be doing that. We will be doing that. See CJ popping into the building. What is up, CJ? Good to see you. I see the mad lad himself, Rick Sailor, my homie. Always good to see you, Rick. Rick is my brother. Always good to see you, Rick. Welcome, my friend. I hope you are enjoying your Friday. Bill D says, howdy, Tilly on the wrong bus. I'd been visiting racetracks all across the country. Jim, was it a charter bus? I don't know. It was a bus. It had wheels, a door, and tickets you had to buy. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. And that's one thing that From has been kind of not crazy forthcoming with, is just outright revealing all of these characters' backstories. This show often gets compared to Lost, and for good reason. There's a ton of similarities between From and Lost. But Lost had the added benefit of having 25 episodes a season. So they had extra time where they really could fill in all of those backstories and do all of those flashback sequences and really give you a sense of who these characters were before they got crashed onto the island. From only has 10 episodes a season, so there's some things that they unfortunately just aren't able to do if they did have those 20 episode season formats. And it looks like they have been keeping that kind of information in particular kind of not classified, but they haven't been just outright hitting us over the head with these flashbacks, giving us some character backgrounds. We get a little bit from a few characters. We get a little bit from Boyd. Obviously, we know some of the backstory from the Matthews family, from Jade, and a few of our other main characters. But it's only vague details. We don't really know a whole lot of specifics as to who these people really were before they got stuck here in Fromville. We know Jade was some kind of tech genius who just got done selling his company for an obscene amount of money. That's pretty much all we know. It's a quantum computing algorithm. Other than that, there's really not much we definitively know about it. And like you mentioned there with Tilly as well, Tilly says she's just going all over the country chasing the dog shows. And I suppose that could be, not too outside of the realm of normal if you're to take Tilly's story at face value. It seems like she has some kind of terminal illness, maybe doesn't have that much time left, and maybe she's just trying to enjoy herself, have one last hurrah before she kicks the bucket, maybe. But yeah, you don't get much definitive details. Elgin, of course, one of our new characters that we get in Season 2. We know that he was seemingly on his way to visit his grandmother. But that's it. No other specific details on a lot of these characters' backstories. And it'll be interesting to see what they choose to share with us and what they choose to leave a little bit ambiguous. Like Sarah's character, for instance, I know a lot of us have been wondering just what exactly is some of Sarah's background. We know that her brother was on his way to Pennsylvania to pick her up to take her back home to Boston. But we don't know why. We don't know why she was in Connecticut. We don't know why she's coming back to Boston. Was she in some kind of trouble? What exactly happened? There's some really interesting fan theories surrounding Sarah's backstory, like she potentially killed her parents and was on the run and the brother was taking her to safety, or that she potentially escaped some cult and the brother was, rescuing her. Some interesting fan theories that have been popping up around Sarah's backstory. Because, something about Sarah, especially in Season 1 Sarah, she seems like she's been through something incredibly traumatic. And I think that is even a little bit more evident when we see how overprotective Sarah's brother is towards Sarah. He's incredibly protective of her in Season 1. He practically doesn't want to let her out of his sight. And that leads me to believe that there is some kind of dark history there, some kind of tragedy that might have happened just before they got to Fromville. And I'd really love to know why exactly Nathan was traveling to Connecticut to bring her back home. What exactly was she trying to get away from? Was she running from someone? Was she running towards something? Sarah's backstory is one that I would love to learn a little bit more about. And I guess, you guys know me. I love hearing from you guys in the chat. I love hearing the feedback. So I guess that will be my first question to you guys in the chat. Out of all of our characters in Fromville, which character would you like to get a full backstory on? And finally learn some real definitive details as to who these characters were before they got here in Fromville. Which character's backstory do you want to know the most? That is what I will ask you. That is what I will ask you. As Xavier says, I said in your live the other day that Christopher and his followers may be the Cannibal Village inhabitants, or that's where the boy in white be heading when Boyd followed him. It could be. I think I do remember you saying something like that. And yeah, this new Cannibal Village place looks incredibly intriguing. I love when just the idea of us visiting some new locations within Fromville itself is incredibly exciting, because that's one of the things I really love about this story. They've really created a very rich world and a very mysterious world. And it looks like Fromville, at least if anything, if Tabitha's view from the top of the lighthouse is any indication, this place is vast. This place is absolutely vast in terms of how much distance this forest covers and what else could potentially be out there. So yeah, I love the idea that we're going to be visiting some new locations in season 3 with inside Fromville, and who knows, like you said, when we get to this Cannibal Village place, maybe we'll even find out that there's people living there. That would be pretty interesting. Never think about that. Maybe she's hear the voices even before going into Fromville. Now, that's a very interesting possibility as well. I know we talked a little bit about Father Cautry's kind of circumstances and, the little bit that we've learned about his backstory in terms of the altercation that he got in with one of his parishioners. He kind of sent the kid away, and then the kid went on to get killed by his father, and Father Cautry felt a lot of guilt for that, to the point where he was about to off himself, until he hears a voice that he attributes as the voice of God, telling him to get back in the car and to continue driving. And then, boom, 2 hours later, he's stuck here in Fromville. But I think a lot of us get the feeling that that voice Cautry heard was probably not the voice of God, and was most likely something coming from within Fromville luring him in here. The boy in white even, perhaps. So I think it's totally possible or plausible that Sarah could have been, experiencing some weird kind of trippiness, whether it's the voices or something else, maybe before she even got there. I think that's possible. I mean, that's definitely possible. I like it. I like it. Probably DV or a cult, says Susie. Yeah, I mean, just doesn't she just seem like she would be? I mean, yes, she's young, she's impressionable. We see how easily these voices in Fromville are able to manipulate her. They manipulate her into committing some dark and heinous acts. So she seems like she very is susceptible to some mind manipulation. So that does lead me to believe, or at least I wouldn't be surprised, I guess I should say, if she was in some sort of kind of cult-like scenario that her brother was trying to get her away from. Because again, she does seem like she is rather easily manipulated. At least season 1 Sarah seems like she was easily manipulated. Season 2 Sarah and season 3 Sarah, by the looks of it, looks like she's starting to become not as easily manipulated. But that first season, yeah, they could have convinced her to do anything they want, it seems. I thought Sarah was an Amish girl going through Rumspringer in season 1. Who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe she's fleeing some kind of Amish community or something like that. That's totally possible. Totally possible indeed. She sounds like she is lying. If she is going through the country, then she knows what a charter bus is. Oh, in terms of Fanny Pack Granny, Tilly, sus Tilly. Yeah, a little bit of weird, like, you mean to tell me you don't know what a charter bus is? Really? it does make you kind of raise the eyebrow a little bit, even more on Fanny Pat Granny than before. I mean, she was already sus when she first arrived in her happy rain dance that she's doing here in Fromville when she first arrives here. But yeah, I mean, part of me thinks that Tilly's antics are just, the writer's way to kind of make us think that she's maybe a little more sus than she is. I get the feeling Tilly is probably just Tilly at the end of the day. But it is fun to speculate, of course. It is fun to speculate. Let's see what else we got. Victor, because he seems to be able to unlock a lot of answers. Now, Victor might be, I think if I had to choose any one character to definitively learn their backstory before they were here in Fromville, Victor might be my first choice as well, just because his backstory is probably shrouded in the most amount of mystery in terms of what the heck his past is. Not only his past here in Fromville, but the circumstances as to how he arrived here in Fromville to begin with. Because every time the subject is brought up, whether it's Tabitha or Jade or anyone, anytime Victor is asked how he got stuck here, he always just says he doesn't want to talk about it. Doesn't want to talk about it. Why exactly do you not want to talk about how you got stuck here, unless there's some weird circumstances bringing you here? It seems like everybody got stuck here under similar circumstances. They were driving somewhere, and next thing you know, boom, they end up here in Fromville. Not too much mysterious there. Obviously, it's mysterious as to how they're getting here, but a lot of people arrived in similar fashion. So what exactly is up with Victor's arrival? Why is he so hesitant to speak about how he arrived here and these circumstances they're in? I don't know. It does make you wonder, though. It does make you wonder what is up with Victor's past. Let's see what else we got. Wow. Hi, everyone. My first time catching a live. That is awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the channel. We Like It Hard. Awesome to have you here this evening. Welcome. Awesome. Love seeing some new names in the chat. Everybody is welcome here. Everybody is welcome here. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. Julie Barber says, I'd like to get Jade's backstory, like what the relationship with him and Toby was like. Why the hell was Jade passed out in the back seat when they got there? Because this is his friend. It's weird. Yeah, Jade's whole thing is a little bit weird as well. And like you mentioned, the back seat is incredibly weird. I mean, was Jade in the back seat just because he was high out of his mind and he just was in the back seat? Yeah, it is a little bit weird. I mean, we see this car accident between Jade, Toby, and the Matthews family. And I know we talked about this a little bit previously, and it almost seems like Jade and Toby's car just comes out of nowhere, barreling right towards the Matthews family, almost like something wanted that crash to happen. And I know you mentioned, Julie, in terms of there is something out here that's capable of destroying an entire house in just one house alone, with everything else around it not being disturbed. So whatever is here, whatever Fromville is, whatever kind of consciousness that is in control of this place, it stands to reason it's pretty powerful. It can do who knows what. Probably could easily make a car crash happen if it wanted to, because it's very interesting to see. Again, Jade and Toby's car kind of seems like it just comes out of nowhere, barreling right towards them. So yeah, what exactly was going on there? I mean, why was Toby driving in the front? Why was Jade laying in the back seat? Again, was it just because he was high out of his mind? I don't know. I don't know. But some interesting circumstances surrounding Jade's arrival as well. And then the whole Toby thing. I mean, why Sarah killed Toby is still a huge question mark. Why exactly did these voices want Toby dead? I mean, looking at the character that Jade turned out to be, Jade seems to be like he was maybe the real special one in terms of seeing the symbol. He's definitely going to be very important in terms of finding answers. Did the voices that were manipulating Sarah just potentially get it wrong? That by killing Toby, they thought they were killing the quote-unquote special one when really it turned out to be Jade? I don't know. I mean, there's just so many question marks surrounding why these voices wanted Toby dead. Yeah, a lot of question marks there. A lot of question marks there indeed. Got CA in the house. CA in the house. What is up, CA? Good to see you, my friend. I hope you are enjoying your Friday. I have a weird theory. Victor is important, and we're gonna know more about him. We don't have any clue of a younger Victor there, and just the child Victor and the adult Victor. Yeah, I mean, there's so much kind of, especially like you mentioned, we have this adult Victor that we know a little bit about, and we're getting a little bit more and more from this child Victor. But what about the in between? I mean, it stands to reason Victor was maybe in this place for a very long time by himself. I know in some of the behind the scenes, the actor playing Victor kind of credits the boy in white with helping him survive when he was younger. But there's so much time kind of in between young Victor and this old Victor that is just completely unaccounted for. If the massacre happened in 1978, which it seems like that was the year of the massacre, 78, what happened in between from them till 2022 is where the show takes place. What exactly happened in all of that time in between? I mean, that is a huge question mark. So yeah, there's so much there. In terms of backstories, there's probably more to learn about Victor than maybe any other character. I think it was just a Greyhound like bus, and she has a point. It was like a group of people going to racetracks, and that could have been it. That actually does make sense, where it's a specific Greyhound bus that is only visiting tracks, because they do have those kind of trips. They go all around the country. And you will see kind of, older people like Tilly or retired people in general kind of on those kind of buses where they just hit track after track after track after track, traveling all around the country. And it's specifically one of those tours. And that very well could be what, I mean, I suppose that could be what that bus was. But then again, you look at all of the other characters that were on that bus, and it looks like a lot of them were just traveling, like Randall and Elgin and all of them. It didn't look like they were on the Greyhound tour. So unless this bus was having multiple functions, it is a little bit weird because it clearly wasn't just solely a Greyhound bus that was going from track to track. Now that I think about it, obviously with all the other characters and passengers, it seemed like a regular travel bus, and maybe that's it. Maybe it was just that simple, where Tilly was just hopping on a regular travel bus to go from track to track on her own, and it wasn't a kind of guided tour thing. Maybe. Who knows? The question is, why doesn't Father Cotchery have a Bible, or at least church pamphlets or church books in his car? It's almost impossible he wouldn't have a Bible everywhere, including his vehicle. That always was very weird and interesting to me as well, PM. I 100% agree with you. I mean, you look at all of the people that were stuck here in Fromville over Lord knows how many years. You mean to tell me not one single person was traveling with a pocket-sized Bible in their glove box or something like that in their trunk, maybe? And like you mentioned, Father Cotchery in particular, he is a priest after all. You would think if anyone is going to have a Bible in their car, it's Father Cotchery, a priest. But yeah, nothing. I mean, we did get a really interesting comment in one of our recent videos pertaining to why there might be no Bibles inside Fromville. And this person theorized, and I'm so sorry I'm blanking on the name. I always try to give people credit for these things. I can't, I'm blanking on the name of who said this. But it was a very interesting theory, and it definitely got me to thinking that maybe there's a reason why there's no Bibles in Fromville. That if you have a Bible on you, that is kind of what, quote unquote, protects you from getting stuck in Fromville. And I thought that was a pretty interesting answer. I mean, it certainly could be plausible. I mean, when you look at just the law of probability, all of the people that have gotten stuck here over however many decades, it stands to reason someone would have a Bible at some point, unless a Bible was specifically one of the things that Fromville was not allowing inside. That maybe in some sense, having a Bible in you keeps you safe from getting stuck here. I thought it was an interesting theory. I mean, it's just a tinfoil theory at this point, not a whole lot of really evidence to back it up, but it's an interesting theory nonetheless. I mean, it could potentially explain why we haven't seen any Bibles, maybe. Why the spirits push Sarah to kill Toby first is what I want to know. Yes, exactly. Why is Toby so dangerous to this place? What does he know that needed to cut out his tongue so his ghost can't talk? And that's been a very interesting idea. And I do tend to agree with you guys when you say that as well, in terms of why exactly did Sarah cut out his tongue? I mean, if Sarah only wanted to make it seem like Toby was killed by the monsters, all she had to do was kind of dice him up a little bit. She didn't actually have to take out his tongue to make it convincing it was a monster. She just had to slash him up a bit. But she specifically goes right for his tongue. And that's actually the first thing she does. Before she cuts up the rest of his body, the first thing she does is go for his tongue and cut it out. So I did think that was an interesting idea, that maybe the tongue was specifically cut out to keep Toby from communicating after he dies. Because it does seem like there is a potential possibility for people getting stuck here after they die. It seems like Abby is still here after she died, giving that message to Sarah at the end of season 1. Seems like Abby's spirit is still lingering somewhere, and maybe that's one of the things that happens here in Fromville. Maybe certain people, when they die here, they get stuck here and they're kind of unable to move on, and maybe that's what some of these voices that Sarah is hearing are. But yeah, if that's the case, what exactly is up with Toby? What made Toby so special and so important that he was warranted all of this elaborate kind of ruse just to take him off the board? It's not like Sarah just kills him. She kills him and then leaves the whole door open to the entire clinic and gets 2 other people absolutely massacred just to cover up Toby's death. So yeah, it makes you think, why was Toby so important? Why did these voices want Toby off the board so bad? And the only thing that I keep coming back to is that maybe the voices simply got it wrong. Maybe they thought Toby was going to be the special one when it really turned out to be Jade was the special one. Maybe they just simply were mistaken. I don't know. I can't really think of anything else as to why they specifically wanted Toby dead, other than maybe they thought he was going to be the one seeing this symbol. I do not know, but it's definitely a big question mark. Definitely a big question mark. Let's see what else we got. Let me scroll down. Yeah, maybe a broken home or abused in terms of Sarah. I believe you might be referring to. That could be possible as well. That could be very possible. Yeah, absolutely. We don't hear much about Sarah's parents, as far as I can tell. Maybe like a throwaway line here or there. We get one throwaway line from Sarah saying that she used to have a boyfriend at one point, but it's better that he's not here, almost indicating like it maybe ended poorly, and maybe Nathan was getting her away from a kind of abusive relationship even, which is another fan theory going around, which could be possible too. But no, I like that. That's definitely as plausible as anything else. Some kind of broken or abused home that she was kind of getting away from. That's possible, definitely. You can blame Tilly's behavior on the heavy pain meds. Maybe it is that. Maybe it is that, Michael. Maybe it's just she's just in her happy place. She's just in her happy place. Maybe that is definitely very possible. Definitely very possible. I don't think it was the DV with Sarah, or she would have stood up to Kenny about her broken ornament, or she'd be more afraid of angry people, I'd assume. Oh, okay, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I want Victor's backstory most. If his mom was fleeing his dad with the kids, what life was like for Victor in 70s Fromville, it would reveal so much, like why he had to hide from Christopher. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much there that I feel they will reveal at some point, but I know we're all dying to wonder what exactly is this Victor-Christopher connection. How exactly was Christopher connected to the entire Victor's family? Was there some connection between him and Miranda? There's even been some people speculating that Christopher was maybe Victor's father. I don't know. I mean, it seems like there is some kind of connection there between Christopher and Victor. And maybe it could just simply be that they were, both part of the town at a time, before the massacre. And we do hear that Christopher was one of the few people that was managed and was able to make people smile and laugh back then, which was not really an easy thing to come by, according to Victor. Maybe it's just that. Who knows? Maybe there's no deeper connection between the two of them, but I don't know. I tend to think there's some more there that is still yet to be revealed. And who knows? Maybe that will be something that Victor will be uncovering in season 3. It does look like he is going on some kind of mission in season 3 to uncover some kind of lost memories. And maybe some of them will be Christopher related and we can get some answers. Maybe. What's the deal with Elgin and his freakouts? Yeah, a lot of people were pointing out that Elgin seemed to start freaking out and was maybe even asleep and getting a part of his vision maybe before he even got stuck here in Fromville. Because that's the very interesting thing about the bus's arrival. We don't actually see when they see the tree. We know that they do see the tree. We hear them talk about it later on. But we don't actually get to see it happen on screen as to when they see the tree, and if when they see the tree, if Elgin is already asleep and potentially already dreaming and maybe already getting his message. Yeah, it's who knows? Who knows what is going on with Elgin and his freakouts? He had that very weird seizure right at the same time. It seemed like that the Matthews family home was getting ready to collapse. Was that coincidental, or are the two events related in some way? I don't know. I don't know. But part of me starts to think that not many things are just pure coincidence here, that things are happening for a reason. And maybe the close proximity to Elgin's seizure and the house falling down, maybe there's some kind of connection there. Who knows? What is up, Leah Bradley? Good to see you. Hi, Fromily. I missed you guys. Well, we missed you as well. Awesome to have you here in the chat. I hope you are enjoying your Friday. I hope everybody is enjoying their Friday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It was before he remembered his sister, though, right? So was he still pushing down her existence in his memory and finding his mom? Maybe that could potentially be it. He was it was his regressing memories, and that very well could be the case. And maybe that's why he was kind of so resistant to even thinking about these circumstances that brought him here. Anytime someone asks him, "Hey, how did you get stuck here?" Maybe it's kind of just a defense mechanism from him to kind of shut down for his, that's kind of his brain's way of protecting those memories, protecting the trauma, protecting the brain from trauma. That very well could be possible. Maybe there was something there subconsciously that was stopping Victor from exploring how he got stuck here, and for fear of that would trigger the memory of his sister. So that is a good point, Susie. It was before he remembered the sister, when he was kind of very resistant to talking about how he got stuck here. So that is a point. That is a good point. Morgana says, more Sarah and Fatima backstory in season 3. And yeah, Sarah is a very mysterious one, but Fatima is as well. There's so much. We practically know nothing about Fatima. There's very little information on who she was before she got stuck here. And it seems like she might have been traveling alone, too, by herself when she got stuck here in Fromville. So yeah, I mean, you look at a lot of these characters, and just so many backstories are incredibly mysterious at this point. And who knows if we'll ever find out some of these finer details. Who knows? Let's see what else we got. Let me scroll down. It's purgatory. They're all sinners. And the purgatory theory was a pretty popular one, especially during season 1 in particular. A lot of people, and I imagine it probably still has some kind of popularity around it to this point, where they are potentially in some sort of purgatory or in-between world, in-between like state. Because there's just so much trippy stuff that is happening here that, you definitely cannot discount the possibility that this is some sort of purgatory world that they are stuck in, maybe. And it could be. It could be. Maybe they are all stuck in purgatory. Fatima says, in season 2, episode 3, the one girl, Nadia, used to say that it was like this place was calling out to us, but only some of us were listening closely enough to hear it. Who is Nadia? Dead? That's what I was wondering as well. And I started to think, who if anyone remembers in the chat, definitely let me know, because I'm just off the top of my head, I can't really think of it. I'd have to go back and look. But we know in season 1, Fatima has a very special relationship with another female in Colony House. Obviously, her and Ellis are together, but we also see Fatima making out with some other female character in season 1 of Fromville as well. I'm blanking on who that character's name was, or whether that was Nadia, or whether Nadia was just some other random character entirely. So if anybody in the chat remembers who the name of the character that Fatima was kissing in season 1 was, maybe that could potentially give us the answer. I don't know if her name was Nadia or not. I'm not sure. But if that wasn't Nadia, then I imagine Nadia was just another random member of Fromville that was maybe a little similar to Elgin or Jade or some of these other characters who are capable of kind of hearing Fromville or tapping into that kind of frequency where not everybody else can. But yeah, I am not sure. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think who Nadia was, and I'm drawing a blank just off the top of my head. If I was writing why Toby is so dangerous to this place, I'd make him a historian with a specialized knowledge of when all of this started in the 16th century. Ooh, now that's an interesting possibility. That is an interesting one, that maybe Toby had some sort of, significant historical knowledge that could have, lend them getting closer to finding some answers. Maybe that's an interesting theory. Maybe Toby was just too smart for Fromville in the end. At the end of the day, I suppose it's possible. I suppose it is possible. We got Keely in the house. Hello from Croatia. What is up? All the way from Croatia. Good to see you. I hope you are doing well this evening or this morning or whatever time it is there. Welcome, welcome. I don't see Mari gambling with money. I may be wrong, but I don't think gambling and drug vices cross. They usually don't. No, you're absolutely right, Glue Guns and Roses. It doesn't seem like a kind of recovering or a current addict would have the necessary funds to be gambling all the time, unless by some chance maybe gambling is how she supports her addiction. But like you said, it is kind of an unlikely crossing of events that you would see someone like Mari partaking in. So no, I definitely agree with you there to an extent. It's a little weird. A little bit weird. We got Caitlin in the house. What is up, Caitlin? Not too late tonight. Nope, you are just on time. We are diving into all things from season 3 and beyond. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's no holy books from any of the other major religions. I think it's because this is a realm ruled by the lower level gods fighting here, and that's a good point, Tyler. I mean, we've seen no Bible, yes, but we've also seen no other, mentions. We've seen no other reference to a Quran or any other kind of holy text here at all. So yeah, you might be right. It might not just be Bibles that are here. It might be there are no religious texts here at all, no matter what the religion is. At least we haven't seen any evidence of any religious texts anywhere here in Fromville. So that is a point. It might not just be Bibles. It might be multiple different faiths that are not kind of in there, represented in there maybe. Maybe having a Bible would somehow prevent them from being transported here like the talisman. And that was the kind of the comment that someone was putting in the chat the other day that I totally kind of stopped and thought about and thought, yeah, that could potentially be it. Maybe having a Bible on you is, like you said, kind of protects you from getting sucked into Fromville, like it's a talisman for the real world. So yeah, it's an interesting way of putting it, and I think that could very well be possible. Again, it's just when you think of the law of probability and how many people have been stuck here over Lord knows how many years, the fact that not a single one of them ever had some kind of travel Bible on them in their glove box, in their trunk, or anything like that, is incredibly unlikely. It's almost impossible in terms of the odds, unless something like that is a little more true than we think. Maybe having a Bible kind of protects you from getting stuck here. Who knows? And maybe not just Bible, but any other religious text as well. As Tyler B points out, it's more than just Bibles that aren't here. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of religious text here at all. So maybe having anything along those lines kind of protects you from getting stuck there, not necessarily just the Bible. Interesting. Why the hotel didn't get transported with the pool and sign? Because there were Bibles in the drawers. Ooh, interesting. That could potentially be a reason as to why the hotel is in there. A lot of us have been wondering, where the heck is this Star Magic Hotel? Like you said, we see the pool, we see the lot, we see the sign, but no actual building. Now, when I saw what happened to the Matthews house in season 2, part of me started to think that maybe that's what happened to the hotel. Maybe whatever collapsed the Matthews house also collapsed the hotel at some point. But if these buildings are also being pulled into here from some other dimension, that could potentially be it. I mean, like you said, most hotels tend to have Bibles in every drawer. Maybe that's why the hotel building didn't get sucked in here with the pool and the sign. That's an interesting theory, Susie. That is a pretty interesting one. I must say, I like that. I like that idea. This is a cool idea. That is a cool idea. Let's see what else we got. And they didn't want everyone knowing it was Sarah who did it. Exactly, Vic. Yeah, the voices definitely seem to want to protect Sarah and cover for her. They wanted Toby's death to just look like a completely tragic accident where the monsters got in, and having Kenny's father in the clinic was the perfect cover for something like that. We know that Kenny put his father in that clinic because it was getting a little bit too dangerous having him at home. He was getting up in the middle of the night and potentially going to the door and opening it. He was a danger. He was putting himself and the rest of the family in danger. They thought that they would be able to keep a closer eye on him, or at least have some kind of 24/7 look on him while he's at the hospital. But that could be the perfect cover right there. That is, when they go there the next morning, they see the door is wide open, the talisman's on the ground. They know Kenny's father was inside with dementia. It's the perfect cover story to think that maybe he just opened the door, not knowing what he was doing. And yeah, it perfectly kind of covers for Sarah and covers up the fact that Toby wasn't killed by the monsters, that he was actually diced up by her. So yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. I would say cutting out the tongues is easier asked than dicing a body, or so he couldn't scream and warn the others in the hospital that night, or just the town being sadistic. Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, is it potentially just like you said, the town being freaking nuts, or yeah, is it some kind of way to keep Toby from warning anybody else? I don't know. It's a good question. That makes sense. That makes sense. You would think Fromville would be packed with people. Something is keeping the numbers down. Yeah, and it's very interesting to see how people get stuck here, and not only how, but the individual people that do get stuck here. You look at the entire makeup of the town, and the people that are here. It's almost like Fromville is pulling people here to purposely fill roles. And what I mean by that is we have a doctor, we have a sheriff, it seems like we have a little bit of everything. We have some person that is getting pulled into here from Fromville that fills almost every kind of role that you would need to have a small functioning town. Even the bartender is even a makeshift bartender is here. And yeah, you start to wonder, why aren't more people getting pulled into here? Is there a reason? Is there a specific number of people that need to be in the town at any given point? I know that was heavy theorized during season 1 and 2, that potentially whenever someone dies, someone new will get stuck here to replace that person. And we've seen some kind of small evidence to potentially maybe back that up. We saw Megan and her mother die, and then boom, the Matthews family arrives. We see the Colony House massacre midway through season 1, and then boom, season 1 ends with a whole new bus of arrivals. So there is at least some kind of evidence pointing to when people die here, there are new arrivals to take their place. And if that is the case, are there being specific roles that are being pulled in here to be specifically filled? Like, are they filling specific roles that everyone would need to keep a small town functioning? Again, like a doctor, a sheriff, etc. People that fill these vital roles within a small town. I don't know. It's an interesting question, though. Tis an interesting question. I do find it odd they wanted Sarah to kill Toby instead of them killing Toby. It was very weird, wasn't it? Like, part of me thinks, and I totally understand. A lot of people were pointing out, if they wanted Toby dead, why not just have Sarah leave the door open and let the monsters do it? And I think if these voices specifically wanted Toby dead for some important reason, maybe the voices just didn't want to leave it up to chance that the monsters may or may not get him. So they specifically had Sarah do it just to be 100% sure that Toby is in fact dead. Because if Sarah leaves the door open at night, there's a high probability that the monsters would have killed Toby, but there's always that small 1% chance that he may have escaped. And maybe that's just a chance they didn't want to take. So they had Sarah just definitively take him out and not leave it up to chance for the monsters to do it, and have the monsters come in and kind of clean up house and cover up the fact afterwards. That's the only thing I can really think of. Because I do totally understand the argument for why not just leave the door open and have the monsters kill Toby. And again, that probably would have been just as successful. But maybe they just didn't want to leave it to chance. That's the only thing I can really think of. Another weird detail that nobody is pointing out is the end scene when Tabitha is going upstairs on the lighthouse. There are some toys on the ground, an ambulance and a dump truck on the ambulance trailer. Yes, and we actually have dived into that last year when season 2 was on. And Tabitha was getting closer and closer to finally getting to this lighthouse. We were going back to season 1, and we took a look at all of that, the vision, basically the vision that Tabitha has at the end of season 1. And we were trying to dissect exactly what these things on the stairs were referencing. And we found some interesting things. I mean, we see the bottle that is on the stairs when Tabitha is going up them, very similar to the bottle that Boyd pulls down off the bottle tree with the 1864 date in it. We see some of Ethan's finger toys, the chromonocle finger toys that Ethan plays with. We see some playing cards, some regular old playing cards. And then when you zoom in on the playing cards, it's actually a 4 and a 7 playing card, which again, they were just hitting us over the head with all of these 4 and 7 numbers throughout season 1 and 2. These numbers, 4 and 7, seem to be pretty significant. Here they are. Yeah, we have the playing cards here. We have Ethan's toys here. We have the fire truck here. There's an ambulance up here in one of the other shots. We see the rope here, and some people were thinking that this is the rope that gets thrown down to Boyd, where Martin, when Boyd is stuck in the shaft. So we're seeing some interesting kind of things here that do kind of point to other scenes in Fromville. But yeah, what exactly does that mean? And could the ambulance be on these stairs potentially be some sort of sign or premonition for this ambulance that is going to be arriving in season 3, which we know is going to happen based on the trailers? We are getting a new ambulance arriving in Fromville with potentially some new characters, like the new female cop Acosta. So yeah, it's a very interesting one. Why exactly are these specific items on the stairs, and what are they trying to tell us? I tend to think that they're just foreshadowing some future events. Again, I do think the rope might have been just a foreshadowing of the rope that Boyd gets, and some of the other things like the bottle that she finds could have been a foreshadowing of the bottle that Boyd finds, or maybe even a foreshadowing of the bottled faraway tree that takes Tabitha here to begin with. So it does seem like some of these items were kind of maybe foreshadowing future events. That's kind of the conclusion I came to. But who knows? It could be something else entirely, or it could be dual meaning. They could have some other meaning that hasn't been revealed yet. But yeah, I like that. Toby knew something he shouldn't have known, in my opinion. Cutting out his tongue is symbolic of shutting him up, and there had to be a reason why Sarah couldn't just let the monsters kill him. And yeah, that's, again, the cutting out of the tongue. I love the theory that you guys have been talking about in terms of that silencing Toby in the hereafter. That maybe cutting out his tongue will make it so he can't communicate with Sarah or anyone after he is dead. But in terms of not just letting the monster kill him, that's the only thing I could think of, is that they just maybe didn't want to leave it up to chance. They wanted to make sure that he was definitely dead, so they had Sarah do it herself. That's really the only thing I can think of, why they wouldn't just let the monsters take out Toby. Because again, Toby was brand new to this town. He had Toby didn't even know about the monsters at that point. He had literally just been stuck here. As far as Toby's concerned, he's just in a weird hospital for all he knows. He hadn't heard about the monsters at that point. I mean, I have to imagine he maybe knew this place was a little bit weird, depending on how many times he and Jade drove in a circle when they got stuck here. But we don't know how many times that even happened. So as far as Toby's concerned, this might just be some normal, regular town as far as he knows. So it stands to reason there's a very good chance that if Sarah would have left the door open, the monsters probably would have killed Toby. But again, maybe they just didn't want to leave it to that 1% chance that he did get away. I don't know. I don't know. Theory: rescuing the children would void the ritual used to trap the big bad, and along with everyone, the evil would also be freed, like Lost. Oof, interesting. And I mean, there's so many things I want to say regarding Lost, but I'm trying to stay away from Lost spoilers too much, because I know there are a lot of you guys in the chat that are currently watching Lost right now and are getting caught up. I know some of you are on seasons 3 and 4, right around there. So I'm trying not to spoil too many things, but I love that theory, PM, in terms of that, this potentially, so I'm trying not to spoil anything. in terms of Fromville serving a similar function that the island served, in terms of maybe keeping some sort of evil at bay. So I really like that theory, PM, and I think you could very well be onto something there, because when we look at all of the incredible parallels between this show and Lost, there's almost too many of them to ignore. So I like where your head's at, PM. I like where your head is at. I like that. It looks like some parts of town are grabbed/created, not a full complete town there. Different time periods reflect in the buildings. For example, the gas station looks very early and old. And that's a very good point, Michael. Yeah, because we look at all of the assortment of different buildings that are here, and they all look like they are from totally different time periods. Like the regular houses that the Matthews family is in, the Tien Chen's house, all of those houses look like they were probably built right around the 50s, 60s era. But then you look at Father Cautry's church, definitely looks like that probably dates a little bit closer to the kind of colonial Civil War era aspect, Civil War era time. And Colony House itself, the actual house of Colony House, that house is incredibly old. Like houses that were built like that way back in the day during the kind of Victorian colonial kind of style time, maybe right around that 1864 time period, even, for all we know. So yes, when you look at the assortment of different buildings that are here in Fromville, it does look like they're almost from different time periods entirely, from the houses to the church, and like you mentioned with the barn, and the gas station. The gas station definitely looked like it was plucked right out of the 50s almost. And yeah, why exactly is that? Why do some of these houses and buildings seem a little more modern than others? Big question. Big question indeed. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. Let me scroll down a little bit. I disagree about Sarah standing up to someone when you killed their dad, but I think she does act more timid or childlike than others her age. She does kind of seem like, I mean, I'm not 100% sure how old Sarah is, but I know I know she's definitely a lot older than Julie. I know Julie's around 16 in the show. Sarah's, I want to say Sarah's around 18 to 21, around there, maybe her early 20s, around there. But yeah, she does, especially in season 1 in particular, she does kind of seem a little, not immature for her age, but not as developed for her age, maybe. So I get what you're saying there. I could see that to a certain extent. I wonder what made the boy in white come back, because I was rewatching season 1 and Victor said he hadn't seen him since the last massacre. Yeah, that was, I don't know if he specifically says the last massacre or if he says he hasn't seen him in a very long time. But yes, either way, you're absolutely right, Ty. What exactly happened to the boy in white? Why did he disappear for so long, and why is he only just returning now? And again, I get the feeling it has to do with this maybe cycle starting all over again with the event of the 2 cars getting stuck here at once, which Victor points out to be very special. That it means something. That 2 cars arriving here at the same time is not something that happens often, and Victor at least took it as some sort of bad omen. And to a certain extent, he was right. Right after the 2 cars arrive is when everything really starts going absolutely haywire in terms of Jade and the symbol, the Colony House massacre, all the other weird phenomenon that are happening within the town. It does seem like the arrival of Jade and the Matthews family was the start of something beginning. And maybe that's why the boy in white decided to start showing himself now, because he knows that he needs to get involved because something is underway. Something is afoot, maybe. But yeah, that was pretty interesting because, like you said, at one point, Victor mentions that the boy in white kind of disappeared for a very long time. It seems like he was there right after the massacre and helped kind of Victor survive in those early days. But at some point, the boy in white kind of disappeared and Victor didn't see him for Lord knows how long, years, maybe even decades. So why now? Why is the boy in white returning now of all times? What is special about this time period that he felt the need to kind of return and start to kind of not meddle with events, but meddle with events in a certain way? Because it's not that the boy in white just returns now. He returns and actively starts getting involved in the narrative. He's helping certain characters. He's pushing Tabitha out of freaking windows. He's pulling Tabitha and Victor out of the caves. So why exactly is the boy in white returning now? Why is he getting active now? Again, the only thing I can think of is the two cars arriving is signaling something, is the signal that something is beginning. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, and again, the boy in white, in terms of backstories, I mean, in terms of like what backstories we would like to learn the most, again, for me, Victor is definitely up there, maybe number one. But when I think about the boy in white, it's like, okay, I would definitely like to learn a little bit more about his backstory as well. Who is this boy in white? Where did he come from? How long has he been stuck here in this town of Fromville? And what exactly is his purpose? There's, in terms of just being shrouded in mystery, there's not many characters that are shrouded in more mystery than the boy in white. Even Victor isn't as mysterious as the boy in white is. So yeah, that's a backstory I would love to hear. What the hell is up with this boy in white? I think Sarah was a mentally ill killer before she showed up. Wow, several reasons. Big one is she kills almost nonchalantly, even if it's for a good reason. That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point, Michael. I mean, it does seem like whatever these voices are that are communicating with Sarah, it does seem like they very easily were able to manipulate her into killing. It doesn't, and maybe it was something that kind of gradually happened over time. But we know Sarah has only been stuck here in Fromville for only a few months. She is one of the newer arrivals. We do hear her say that she's only been here for a few months. So yeah, it seems like whatever these voices were, they were able to manipulate her rather easy, and maybe that's potentially why Sarah was able to hear some of these voices. Maybe it's because she has a little bit of a darker side. Maybe Sarah is kind of this low-key serial killer. I don't know. Maybe you're right, Michael. Maybe you are right. Could be an interesting reveal. Could be an interesting reveal. Her brother was trying to protect her from something herself, and maybe that was it. Yes, I mean, like you said, it does seem like the brother was incredibly overprotective, and maybe because the brother knew that Sarah had this dark side to her. It seems like the brother maybe knew a little bit about these voices as well. I mean, we hear Sarah and the brother talking right after she kills Toby, and she talks about it happened again, and she's hearing these voices. So I get the feeling the brother was probably aware, at least maybe, that Sarah was hearing some weird voices. But yeah, I mean, just you look at how overprotective her brother was. It makes you think that he was specifically protecting her from something. Not just trying to keep her safe in a brother-sisterly manner, but he was specifically trying to, shield her from something, maybe. And maybe that's it. Who knows? Maybe he's trying to protect her from herself. I don't trust Elgin either. He always got that dumb look on his face. Yeah, Elgin is another one who is, another character that's very mysterious in terms of, why is Elgin being tapped for some of these weird dream/premonition things that he's having. And then when you look a little bit deeper at Elgin, you have that whole incredibly weird scene between that weird demonic Fatima-looking creature that kind of starts to drown him in the tub. This creature right here that we all know and love. And it looks like, based on some of the casting calls from season 3, before they started filming, they were putting out some casting calls looking for extras for background creatures. And they were also looking for one particular role that they were trying to cast. And the description of the character that they were looking for sounded an awful lot like this thing right here. The description was super similar to this weird creature. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see this creature again in season 3. And you guys heard me talk about this last week, and I saw some great theories in the chat that were of a similar mind, that this thing bears a very striking resemblance to Fatima. Obviously, it's got the same hair as Fatima. It's got the same pronounced cheekbones as Fatima. It's wearing one of these kind of Asian-style kimonos that Fatima always wears. Very Fatima-esque, this weird creature. And we see what's happening with Fatima in season 3 in terms of this pregnancy. It doesn't look like this pregnancy is going to be normal. It seems like this pregnancy might even be draining the life out of her. And I thought it was a pretty interesting kind of tinfoil theory that maybe this is what Fatima is going to turn into if that pregnancy is not kept in check. Or I think I saw somebody in the chat even say that this was maybe a future version of Fatima's child, which is another really interesting theory as well. The thing that I think that it might be, some kind of future premonition of what Fatima might turn into is the teeth were a little bit of an interesting detail as well. We see that Fatima is starting to maybe lose some of her teeth in season 3 based on this pregnancy. And that is something that I have been told does really happen in female pregnancies, that sometimes the calcium deficiency will cause them to get some loose or even lose teeth. As you have a baby inside you that is kind of sucking up all these nutrients and all the calcium, it stands to reason that, your calcium might be deficient. So I totally understand that. But it seems like it's happening to Fatima incredibly fast, like way faster than it should be happening. And then when you look at this creature and you see that she's only got a few teeth, you got 1 teeth, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's only like a few teeth that this creature has left. Could that be another hint that this is maybe what Fatima might turn into? I don't know, but it's a fun tinfoil theory, if nothing else, even if it isn't true. But yeah, what exactly is this thing? And why did it kind of single out Elgin of all people? Why was Elgin's dream kind of invaded by this thing? Because we do know that Elgin was dreaming when he has that dream of him being in the tub, and then he wakes up with, from what it's described, a ton of water comes out of his mouth when he wakes up, like he almost drowned in his dream. But he brings that water into the real world when he wakes up, very similar to Kenny bringing the burn into the real world when he gets burned in his dream. But why Elgin? Why exactly was Elgin visited by this weird thing? I don't know. Oof. And almost like, not only is the thing creepy as hell, but you hear the wail, you hear that weird kind of laugh that the thing is kind of giving off when it is drowning Elgin. That's almost creepier than how the thing looks to begin with. I'll play it one more time. It's a really quick clip. But listen to the menacing and almost evil sound of that just incredibly creepy laughter. Yeah, super creepy laugh. The sound effect is almost creepier than how it looks. That Fatima ghost looks, ghost looks almost backwards, and it looks like she is actually sinking to the bottom. Yeah, it's super creepy, and it is one of the cooler scenes in season 2. But it's just we get absolutely nothing on the scene. We get no other reference to it. We really have no idea what this thing was that was visiting Elgin. But I'm hoping we get something on this storyline continued in season 3. Again, based off these season 3 casting calls, it does look like one of the roles that they casted for season 3 does potentially fit the description of this weird creature. And it's described as ghastly entity is the official designation of the name of the creature, ghastly entity. But what exactly does that mean? And will we see this thing return? I don't know. I certainly hope so, though. I certainly hope we see this thing return again. I still think Elgin is Fatima's kid, somehow, not sure how. And that was a pretty interesting theory that did pop up during season 2 as well. Some people seem to think that Elgin might be Fatima and Ellis's kid from the future. And I mean, it's an interesting theory. I mean, I haven't really seen much evidence to back it up yet, but it is an interesting theory. It certainly is an interesting one. Carly dropped a video this morning going over his thoughts. Oh, the George R. R. Martin thing. Yes. Yeah, I did drop a video this morning on the channel. So if anyone is looking to hear my take on the George R. R. Martin controversy, there is a video on the channel that I uploaded this morning, and I kind of lay my thoughts out in the video. But yeah, it is there. I assured a lot of people, I assumed a lot of people had been there for years, but in the past dream, it was mentioned that Donna has been there the longest besides Victor. Yes. Donna has been there the second longest. We know Victor's been there for decades, and up until the point where Boyd first arrives, Donna had been there for around 3 years, I believe it was. So yeah, what is up with all of that time in between? I mean, if Donna has been here the second longest and she's only been here for 3 years or so, that stands to reason that there's two options. One option is Victor was here by himself for a very long time, or in between the 78 massacre and Donna arriving all those decades later, there were other arrivals that came to Fromville and were subsequently killed off, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure which is which. Part of me tends to lean a little bit more towards Victor was probably on his own for longer than we maybe think, because you see how traumatized Victor is and just how stuck in that 10-year-old mindset that he is. Being isolated and being alone in a place like this for that long is definitely the kind of trauma that would do that to somebody. So part of me thinks that maybe Victor was just here by himself for decades. But then, I start to think, were there other arrivals that arrived before Donna that were just killed off, that didn't really last? Because it is pretty interesting how Donna's like you said, Donna's been here the second longest and she's only been there for 3 years. So what is up with all that missing in between time is the question, I guess. Were there other arrivals, or was it just Victor by himself? Fatima may be becoming a monster, or maybe the bloody tooth thing in the trailer was a dream sequence like we've seen before. That was also a possibility as well. I mean, we do see some interesting dream sequences in the show that do kind of come off like they are real scenes at first until we see the person wake up, like this Elgin and Fatima scene here to begin with. This is a perfect example of that. When we get to the end of this episode and we see this scene, I think a lot of us thought it was a real scene. We don't even find out that this is a dream sequence until the next episode. This is actually how the episode ends. The episode ends with this weird thing pushing Elgin under the water. And again, we don't even find out that the whole thing was a dream until the very next episode. So yeah, they do kind of portray these weird scenes from time to time that make you think it might be real, only to later find out that it's a dream sequence. And maybe that's something similar that's happening to Fatima in season 3 in terms of the bloody mouth that we see. That's possible. Definitely possible. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, there is a chart by the U.S. map. You can't read it well, but it lists some of the states and where people came from. Yes, it does. It lists some of the states. It lists some names of the people that have been stuck here. And for some reason, there's also some coordinates there as well. And I have to imagine the coordinates are probably the coordinates of where people were traveling when they got stuck here. Because, yeah, we do see all three of those things. We see, again, the names, we see the lists of people, but again, we see some very strange coordinates that are kind of there as well. And that was kind of my initial response, that maybe they are coordinates of where people were actually traveling when they get stuck here. But yeah, there's still so much from that map thing that we just don't know. Tons from the map that we don't know. These thumbtacks are very well spread out all over the map. It seems like people have been getting pulled in here from literally everywhere. And doesn't seem to be any kind of pattern that is emerging quite yet. Maybe there will be in the future. Maybe we will get some kind of more definitive reason as to why people are getting stuck here and the specific circumstances that is getting people stuck here. Who knows? But yeah, good old trusty map. The good old trusty map. I always assumed people came and died. They didn't have talismans. I could be wrong. And that's a good point. Exactly. Yeah, there were no talismans back then. That's a very good point. So I have to imagine that people arriving were probably getting killed off a lot faster and in much higher numbers than now. So yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. Actually, that makes absolutely perfect sense. That there probably might have been some arrivals in between, but yeah, they were all killed off. Because you mentioned no talismans back then. They kind of had to just hide and hope for the best, which led to a lot of deaths, it seems. Victor had been in cryosleep or something similar. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. Maybe. But yeah, that sounds horrible. Being alone for that long with the monsters, it does. I mean, whether it was decades or whether it was just kind of years, again, I do tend to think there were probably some other arrivals in between. But either way, it does seem like Victor was on his own for a very long time. And again, as Guns mentioned, without talismans too. No talismans back then. No form of protection at all. So here you have Victor, this 10-year-old incredibly traumatized kid who just discovered his mother's dead body and is coming to the realization that he failed to protect his sister. So here you have this poor 10-year-old kid under all of these circumstances, just alone in this place of Fromville, surrounded by monsters. Yeah, I mean, you can totally understand why Victor ended up the way he ended up, really. That kind of thing would have screwed up anybody, I would imagine. You know, that kind of isolation in a place like this probably would have screwed anybody up. Fatima took Elgin to that pond they all swim in. Can't remember the name. The Brundles. Yes, the Brundles. Yes, that's right. Fatima does take Elgin there. He looked scared and specifically asked if there was a body of water there. Maybe his dream was of him or someone else drowning. And I do really like that potential, because when we see Elgin kind of almost drowning in the dream, it does kind of almost make you think of his dream. Like you mentioned, that's one of the first things he talks about when he first gets stuck here. He goes up to Fatima and says, "Is there some body of water here?" Because it seems like he saw the body of water in his dream. But what capacity did he see that body of water under? Did he just have a simple vision of the Brundles and wanted to see if his vision matched up with the real place? Or did he potentially have some kind of vision of himself or someone else drowning? I don't know, but I like it. I like the idea that that is potentially what happened. So yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one. And that's when we get that line from Fatima stating to Elgin that this whole Nadia character has explained that certain people get stuck. When certain people get stuck here, they react to this place in, different and strange ways. Almost like this place is, quote unquote, calling out to people, but only few people are capable of actually hearing it, like the Elgins and the Victors and the Jades. The ones that have a kind of special connection to this place that can kind of hear or tap into that kind of mystical aspect of whatever is going on here. Sarah with the voices, too. It would definitely be another one. But yeah, that's an interesting one. Tyler B says, owls are messengers of the dead in the Cheyenne religion. Besides that, I don't know why owls are so important. Mr. Owl tries to figure out how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. I remember those commercials. Man, those commercials were all over the place in the 90s and even before probably. But yeah. Maybe it's that. But yeah, we do hear some kind of significance towards owls. We know Elgin mentions owls all the time. He talks about all the time that he spent with his grandmother, and every time together they crochet owls. Always an owl, never a different animal. It's always owls. He talks about doing hundreds of them at some point. So yeah, maybe there's going to be some more emphasis on the owls. Just like there's still a whole lot that we need to learn about these weird and mysterious crows that seem to be important in some way. Do anyone recall seeing the end of that lake they were in, or does it lead anywhere? And I've been wondering that myself for a very long time, because no. I've gone back and looked at every single inch of footage that shows the Brundles, and there's not a single scene where we actually see it in its entirety. So we really don't have 100% definitive answer as to whether or not the Brundles is connected to maybe a larger body of water or leads somewhere. But we do have some evidence that it might just be a normal regular pond when we look at Victor's Peach Truck map. Let me see if I can pull Victor's Peach Truck map up. I think I have it here somewhere. Because there is some, at least, evidence on Victor's Peach Truck map that that the Brundles are maybe just a little pond and maybe they're not connected to anything. But I did always find it very interesting that every angle that they show the Brundles on, they never show the whole thing its entirety, almost like they're trying to not give us the answer as to how big the Brundles actually are. Is it just a small pond, or is it potentially connected to something bigger? But if we look at the Peach Truck map, which I thought I had in here somewhere, the Peach Truck map has a drawing. Here we go. The Peach Truck map here has a drawing of what seems to be the Brundles here. And it looks like it's just a regular pond, just a little kind of pond body of water. Now, again, this map has not 100% been, definitively translated. It's not exactly to scale, you might say. But when we look at some of the other surrounding instances, we see that, the town is right here. The town is down here. Here's the hotel sign. So some people are thinking that this little body of water here might be the Brundles. And if that is the case, it's certainly pointing to the Brundles maybe just being a small self-contained pond. But I did also wonder, Ty, why they never really show it in its entirety. How come they always only show the Brundles in very, specific angles where we never actually see how big of a body of water this thing is? But if this map is accurate, I'm starting to think that maybe the Brundles are just a pond and it's not really connected to anything else. But it could be. Who knows? Maybe it is connected to something else. I suppose it's still possible. But I'm leaning a little bit more towards it just being a a pond, just one pond, really. But who knows? Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we'll get a better kind of overview look of the Brundles at some point that'll give us that definitive answer as to whether it's just a little pond or whether it maybe leads somewhere else. I don't know. Let's see what else we got. When I looked up the those coordinates on the post-it note, they lead to an area by Iceland. Ooh, interesting. I could have pinpointed better, but some of the numbers were missing, and that was some of the trouble I was having as well, Ty. That was some of the trouble I was having because you just can't make out all of the numbers. Some of them are just incredibly blurry, and some of them are even covered by other post-it notes. So you really can't get a full, accurate coordination to really pinpoint it and dial it in. But like you said, you can kind of get a general area, and it does kind of point to the Iceland-Greenland area. But yeah, I mean, maybe if we can get a full kind of definitive look at the rest of the coordinates, maybe we can pinpoint it a little bit further. But as of right now, yeah, there are some numbers that are just covered up that we really can't read. So, but no, that's good detective work on your part, my friend. Yeah, but I don't understand why he withholds helpful info. And I was wondering that for a while as well. And I think we start to get a little bit of an answer as to why Victor isn't as forthcoming in season 2. Specifically in season 2, when him and Jade are starting to kind of team up together, and Jade's playing the violin for him in terms of giving him answers on Christopher and stuff. We start to get a little bit more of an insight from Victor, and he starts to kind of give a little vague reason as to why he's not so forthcoming. And in Victor's words, he states that when he talks about these things, when people ask these kind of questions, the kind of questions that Jade is asking, Victor says bad things happen. Bad things happen when I talk about the past. And I think that's why Victor is so hesitant to being so forthcoming, why he's not so forthcoming. Because I think he's just afraid that if he reveals too much, if he talks too much about what he knows, he's afraid of what consequences will come. And we even hear him say this to Ethan in season 2 as well. And he kind of explains this to Ethan as to why he kind of starts pushing Ethan away. Because Victor says that bad things happen to my friends. Bad things happen to people that get close to me. So I think that's a big reason as to why Victor isn't so forthcoming. I think he's afraid that if he shares too much, whoever he shares it with will be put in danger. So I think that's where a lot of that comes from. The talismans were in the stone house. Some claimed it's Viking designed in season 1. There's some interesting symbols on the talismans, and I totally understand why some people might think they are Viking, and maybe they were meant to be Viking, but this symbol here that we see on the outside of the talismans, now some people think that this maybe is just a representation of the trees, that this is just a symbol for the trees, and this inner symbol is maybe an allegory for the town itself, where you have humans on one side, monsters on the other side, night on one side, day on the other side. It's kind of a yin and yang. It does kind of give off a little bit of a yin and yang vibe, where again you have this balanced out ecosystem where you have potentially maybe the monsters on one side again, humans on the other. Definitely a depiction of stick figure people. Maybe one is a representation of, you know, one group being the monsters, and maybe the other representation is a group being people. But then we see the sun and the moon, which of course we know the monsters only come out at night, and it does look like this is a reference to day and night. And then outside, some people think that this may be a representation of the actual trees. But when you look these symbols up, they do bear a very striking similarity to not only some Norse mythology runes, but also some Native American runes as well. And this is where it can be kind of hard to distinguish the Norse mythology runes from the Native American runes. In my research, from what I've seen, when a symbol like this has 3 lines, the 3 lines is an indication that it's Native American, whereas the Norse mythology ones tend to only have 2 lines on them. And again, I didn't do extensive research in it myself. I only kind of vaguely started to search some of these symbols. And that was one of the things I kept coming across, where these 2 symbols are incredibly similar. But again, one is Norse mythology based and one is Native American based. And usually the ones with 2 lines are Norse, and usually the ones with 3 lines are Native American. And we have seen a lot of other references to not only Norse mythology, but definitely Native American mythology here as well. The Anukshuks, for instance, the Anukshuks that we see Ethan playing with in season 2, and the same Anukshuks that we see down in the caves that the Ankui children seem to be playing with, the same Anukshuks that Tabitha herself sets up in the woods to draw the Ankui children to her. Now, those have many different meanings in many different cultures, but in the Native American culture, those Anukshuks can be used to kind of symbolize 2 different things. One could be to mark a site on the trail, so people don't get lost. It'll be trail markers so people can find their way. But another interesting use for those Anukshuks that I thought was very interesting is that in some cultures, they are used to warn people of danger ahead. And I thought that was a very interesting one, that maybe these Anukshuks are potentially set up to warn people that there is danger coming. But there's so many different translations and so many different mythologies and faiths all around the world that it's really hard to pinpoint any single one of them. When you look at From as a whole, it does look like they are drawing on influence from multiple different cultures. It doesn't look like there's just any one culture that they're kind of diving into the lore heavy from. It looks like they're pulling bits and pieces from a bunch of different mythologies and kind of weaving it into From. Like, again, Norse mythology, Native American mythology, Scottish and Irish folklore mythology in terms of some of the fae kind of stuff that the show is playing with. So it does seem like they're taking influence from multiple different faiths and religions and lores. But it's hard to pinpoint down exactly what some of these things mean, because a lot of these things have multiple meanings in multiple different faiths and religions. So it's really hard to pinpoint down one specific thing. But the Anukshuks, at least, in terms of the Native American folklore surrounding them, they could, again, be used to mark a trail and also used to warn people of danger ahead. I guess we'll find out what kind of context they're going to be used on the show. But it looks like we have a new member. Nikki has become a member of the show. Welcome, welcome, Nikki. So glad to have you here as a member, my friend. And recently, we just added some all-new custom Fromville emojis. We got a new Jade emoji. We got a new creepy nurse emoji. We got a Father Cautry emoji. And we have a new Jade's symbol emoji as well that are welcome and free to use for all members of the channel. So thank you so much, Nikki, for becoming a member. I very much appreciate you. And feel free to spam those emojis as much as you want. As much as you want. And you guys know what that means. Anytime we get a member or a super chat, that person deserves a whoa. And now that we have a new whoa that is nowhere near as loud as the old one, which some people have been commenting in the comment sections, thank you so much for not killing my ears with the whoa anymore. Absolutely, I am very happy to accommodate. The old whoa was a little too loud, I will admit it. So this whoa is much quieter and it won't kill your eardrum when I do set it off. But thank you so much, Nikki, for becoming a member. And here's your whoa. Whoa! Much quieter, right? Much quieter than the previous whoa, I would say. So a little bit easier on the ears. But thank you so much, Nikki. We love the whoa. Yeah, I mean, people seem to like the whoa. Not everybody likes the whoa. I've definitely gotten some criticism from people that hate the whoa, which is okay. I mean, it's totally cool. Not everybody's going to like everything. But yeah, I try to be as accommodating as I can to the majority of the chat, and it seems like a lot of you guys like the whoa. But if you don't like the whoa, that is totally okay too. I actually love constructive criticism. When people are telling me, you know, some ways that they would like to see my streams improve, I love getting that kind of feedback. I never get upset at constructive criticism. I very much welcome it because I know I still have a ton to learn when it comes to streaming and everything. I still have much to learn. So yeah, I always very much welcome constructive criticism, and I never shy away from it. I very much welcome it. But thank you guys. Thank you for the support, and thank you, Nikki, for becoming a member. Thank you. Why is Elgin wearing clothes in the bath? Yeah, that was a little bit of a weird kind of that was a little bit of a weird sign. And looking back on the scene afterwards, it starts to make more sense that it's just a dream sequence. But at first, when the scene first happens, like, yeah, you look at Elgin and he's diving into this freaking tub and he's fully clothed. He's got all of his damn clothes on. So later on, when you find out that that actually is a dream sequence, it starts to make a little bit more sense as to why his clothes are on, because it's a dream. But yeah, when I first saw that scene, it's like, what are you doing in the tub with all your clothes on, bud? What's up with you? I mean, I get it. He's in Colony House. It's a new place. It's new surroundings. Maybe he didn't want to kind of, dress down into his skivvies in this new random scary house where he doesn't know anybody. Maybe he just didn't want to get naked, I guess. I don't know. But it was very strange, yeah, to see him kind of going into this tub with all of his clothes on. But again, once we find out it's a dream sequence, then it starts to make a little bit more sense. I think those paintings on the cave wall represent a whole cycle that is either ending or beginning. And I do think that something is going on there as well with the cave symbol as well. And I do think there is some evidence pointing to it kind of repeating, some kind of cycle repeating, especially when we get to the end and we see some of these symbols and we break them down a little bit more. We start from left to right, and it starts with what appears to be people arriving in Fromville via boat. Or at least it appears to be that is what this is depicting. We see what clearly looks like a stream with a boat and 3 people inside each boat, and it almost looks like this is maybe them arriving into Fromville. Then we see the weird symbol, and we see the 7 blocks. That is most likely a representation of the 7 blocks and the 7 Ankui children that Jade sees down in the caves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks exactly, just like the blocks we see. Then, of course, we get to this weird red squid-like symbol, which the show has not really dived into more at all. We haven't even seen this symbol pop up anywhere else on the show. We've only ever seen this symbol on that one scene on that one cave wall. Jade, of course, is being plagued with seeing this symbol all over the place. And other characters have seen this symbol as well. Like Tabitha saw it down in the caves. Christopher was plagued by this symbol. Victor's seen the symbol. But when it comes to this big red one, nothing. We haven't seen this other big red symbol anywhere at all. And maybe we will. I'm sure we will at some point. But then when we get a little bit closer to the end, excuse me, we see, where is it? Oh, don't tell me it's over here. The infinity symbol. There is a symbol here for infinity. And that starts to make you think, is this whole thing depicting one giant loop, one giant story starting from people getting stuck here into Fromville, whatever details these are trying to depict that we haven't really been able to fully translate yet, and then even down here where there's more stuff here that we haven't 100% been able to translate yet either. And it's interesting how these humans are strangely in red where the rest of them are in white. Could white represent human and red potentially represent monster? I don't know. But then we see an infinity symbol. And part of me starts to think that maybe the infinity symbol is signaling that this is the end of the cycle, and then it is starting over anew, and we go right back to the beginning. Because it is very weird how they put the infinity symbol all the way on the end of this depiction, all the way to the right. It's one of the last symbols you see is the infinity symbol. So I'm wondering, what exactly does that mean? Are they trying to showcase to us that this is one giant loop of events that is repeating over and over and over again? I don't know, but there does seem to be a lot of people that are really believing that this is some kind of cycle that is happening over and over and over again, and it could be. It very well could be. Very well could be. Anytime that music box goes off, they're dreaming, in my opinion, and I do think that was the case. Yes, like looking back now on season 2, anytime we saw that music box in Fromville, yes, it was a dream sequence. The only time we ever really see like the physical music box is when Boyd is actually in that dungeon with Martin. He physically picks it up. It seems like that might be the only real one, and the rest of them are all kind of dreams or echoes of the real one, because we do see Boyd destroy the real one at the end of season 2 as well. So I do think that is the only real music box, was the one that Boyd destroyed, and all the other ones that Boyd, Elgin, Kenny, and all these other characters were seeing, that yes, it was a sign that they were dreaming. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got. And yeah, oh my god, those sound effects were creepy as fuck. What the fuck was that noise? What was that noise indeed? Like, it's creepy, no? I mean, part of me thinks it's kind of like this demonic laughter, but it's got this weird kind of echo to it that just, it's hard to kind of pinpoint. It almost sounds like I would picture a siren sounding like the sirens of Greek mythology. It almost, like, when I picture the quote unquote siren's wail, that is the kind of sound that I almost kind of envision, like a wailing siren making that kind of sound. Because again, like you mentioned, Julie, the sound is incredibly freaking weird when we see this thing putting Elgin down, when we see this thing pushing Elgin down under the water. The sound is just creepy. It's terrifying. Yeah, super creepy. Super creepy sound. Yeah, it does, Susie. It kind of sounds a little bit like Myrtle crying in the bathroom at Hogwarts. Yes, I have seen actually the first Harry Potter movie. I think I've seen the first 2 or 3, actually. I've never seen the rest of them, but I do remember the first, at least 2 or 3, but I remember that character, that screaming Myrtle character that was like that ghost chick that was kind of flying around the school, sounding like a wailing banshee. And it does kind of sound similar to that. So that's an interesting correlation that you make there, Susie. It does kind of sound a little similar. It does sound similar. I ain't gonna lie, I laughed when this first happened because of the laugh. Maybe I'm screwed up. No, absolutely not. I mean, and that's what's so fun about seeing some of these scenes and seeing everybody's different reaction to them, because none of us consume media in the exact same way as the other. And that's always the fun part of having these discussions, at least for me anyway. It's always fun to see, we're all watching the same show, we're all watching the same scenes, but we all see them from our own perspective. Different things stand out to some people, where something else might stand out to someone else. A certain sound might remind one person of one thing, where that same sound might remind someone else of something totally different. And that's the fun about consuming media, and what makes these kind of discussions so fun, because we get to kind of compare and contrast how we are perceiving the same show that we're all watching. But yeah, no, nothing wrong. You're definitely not screwed up, Tyler. You're definitely not screwed up. You're in good company, at least, if you are. You are in good company if you are. Right, they do bring back things from their dreams. Yes, they do. I mean, yeah, it is a dream sequence, but like you said, we have seen that these characters are capable of bringing things from their dream into the real world. And I think we might see that thread continue, maybe. It seems like season 2 firmly established that things can be pulled out of nightmares and out of dreams and into the real world. And again, you guys have heard my theory in terms of the monsters and how and where they might potentially come from, and the fact that the monsters on the show are officially designated as nightmare creature. And maybe that's a bigger hint than we originally thought. Maybe the monsters themselves were pulled directly out of someone's nightmare. Maybe that is the origin for the monsters. Although it wouldn't quite explain how they were human at one point, because there is some evidence pointing to these things maybe being human at one point. So yeah, I cannot wait to find out where these monsters come from and what the true origin of them are. Elgin is definitely hiding something, but I don't think he is Fatima's child. Yeah, I don't think he's Fatima's child either, and I'm not 100% sure if he's even hiding something. I get the feeling that maybe there's some things that he's not fully remembering yet, because that was one thing we saw from Elgin in season 2. He got this weird kind of dream premonition thing when he was first arriving in Fromville, but it seemed like there was bits and pieces of it that he was having trouble remembering. He doesn't even remember the boy in white telling him the weird nursery rhyme until the last episode of season 2. And I wonder if that is the case. Are there other parts of Elgin's dream or vision that he still doesn't quite remember, that he hasn't quite recalled yet? So I'm not 100% sure if he's deliberately hiding something, or if there are other parts of his vision that he just hasn't remembered yet. But who knows? Maybe he is hiding something. It could be possible. There's still so much about that character we don't know. The creature in Elgin's dream is one of the biggest mysteries. It made zero sense that they didn't show Elgin waking up and coughing up the water after that insane cliffhanger from him. Must have been cut out. And it was, I do get the feeling it was a scene that was cut out, because the actor that plays Elgin, when he describes talking about that scene, he describes it as not just a little bit of water that he kind of spits out when he wakes up. He kind of describes it like a freaking river, like almost poltergeist or kind of exorcist projectile level vomit kind of water comes out of his mouth, the way he described it. Like it was a ton of water that he threw up when he woke up. It wasn't just a little bit. And if he has those details, it stands to reason that at the very least it was probably in the script, or who knows, maybe they even filmed it and it's a deleted scene. But if they didn't film it, at the very least it seems like it was in the script, because he did know the detail that it was a lot of water, not just a little bit of water that he spit up. It was like a lot of it. But yeah, it is one of the more mysterious scenes on the entire show. I mean, it's shrouded in mystery in terms of what the heck's going on. What is this weird creature? Why did it single out Elgin? A lot of questions there, a lot of mystery. When it first happened, people on Reddit thought it was Fatima because she wore a similar flowery shirt that episode, but it's not exact. Yeah, it's not exactly the same. It's a similar kimono, but it's not the same kimono. The one that she was wearing earlier in that episode was a little bit darker red, and the kimono that we see in that scene is more orange. So it's similar, but it's not exactly the same. You're right. But again, it does kind of almost look like Fatima in terms of the physical characteristics. The hair looks like Fatima's. The pronounced cheekbones look awful lot like Fatima's cheekbones. And again, the kimono does kind of stand out as well. That monster is at the bottom of the Brundles, says Xavier Anderson. Ooh, okay, Xavier. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Well, we all know our boy Ravener. He definitely seems to think that the Brundles are chock full of bodies, potentially. Because, yeah, you look at all the people that have died here in Fromville over all of the decades. Where did all the bodies go? Did all of the bodies get buried? Or could there potentially be some kind of mass grave at the bottom of the Brundles? I don't know. But I think you and Ravener could be onto something. I think you guys could be on to something. The double person image on Talisman suggests a person can be in 2 dimensions at once. That could definitely be a depiction of that as well. We've seen that the 3 chained residents in the dungeon, other suggestions of it. Yeah, that's a very good point, Michael. Very good point indeed. Yeah, because we look at Julie, Mari, and Randall, and like you said, they are literally in 2 different places at the same time, and maybe even in 2 different planes of existence at the same time. Because wherever Martin was, wherever that dream little real world place was, the place that Boyd could only access after he lit the torch and brought it back, it did seem like that place was in a different kind of plane of existence than the actual town of Fromville. And like you said, there's some much evidence backing that up, considering we saw Julie, Randall, and Mari's real physical body back in the town, yet their consciousness, their astral form, for lack of a better term, seemed to be imprisoned inside that dungeon. So yes, they were very literally in 2 places at once. And who knows, maybe that could be one of the things the Talisman is kind of depicting. That's possible. That's possible. I definitely tend to think it's more one side is monster, one side is human, especially with the whole day-night that is being depicted on the Talisman as well. But you might be right. It could be, or maybe there's even a double meaning to it. Even we know that From loves to have dual meanings in some of their episode titles and some of their other themes. So interesting. Ooh, now this is interesting, Bill D. I like theories like this. Give me the tinfoil. Give me all the tinfoil, guys. I love hearing it. Bill D says, I think Elgin killed his grandmother in the bathtub. That's why he can't take baths. He told Julie he can't take baths. He told her before he dreamed of being drowned. Interesting, Bill. Very, very interesting. I mean, shit, yeah, maybe. Maybe. I mean, we do hear Elgin talk about his grandmother. Maybe Elgin just got so sick of making these damn paper crochet freaking owls over and over and over again. Maybe he just got tired of crocheting owls and he took his grandmother out. Who knows? Who knows? But no, that's an interesting one, Bill. That's a very interesting one. And Bill's another one that has some of the best freaking theories out there in terms of From. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it's a possibility. And like you said, maybe that's why he has this fear, or maybe that's why he's so against taking baths, because a bath reminds him of that, of him taking out his grandmother, maybe. It's dark, certainly dark, but this is definitely the kind of show where dark is permitted. For sure. For sure. Let's see what else we got. Yes, yeah. John Griffin told Scott McCord that Victor was alone for many years, and his friendship with the boy in white helped him survive. But there might have been people who eventually came and got killed off. Yeah, that's something I really want to know, because, like you said, just based on how traumatized Victor is and how stunted his development was, that in and of itself stands to reason that he's incredibly traumatized. And maybe that's a big part of the reason why, because he was alone and isolated in this horrible nightmare realm for so long by himself. But yeah, you also have to start to wonder, were there maybe some other arrivals that arrived in between the massacre and Donna? It's definitely an interesting thought. You know, was Victor alone the whole time? Or were there some other arrivals that subsequently got killed off? I tend to think there might have been some other arrivals that might have gotten killed off, but either way, I do think Victor was probably on his own for a very long time, like multiple years, maybe even multiple decades. But I wouldn't be too surprised if there were some other arrivals in between that came and gone, in between before Donna gets there, basically. That sounds horrible. Being alone that long with the monsters, it does. And again, this is, you know, like we mentioned earlier, this is back when there were no talismans, or at least the talismans weren't discovered yet by Victor or anyone in the town. So yeah, I mean, here you are, you're Victor, you're 10 years old. A giant massacre has just happened that takes out the entire town, including your mother and maybe even your sister. And he's left with all of this guilt knowing that he failed to protect his sister. Yeah, you're a 10-year-old kid faced with all of that. And on top of it, you're stuck in this nightmarish hellscape world with no hope of escape and no protection at that point either. Just kind of have to hide at night and hope that the monsters don't find you. Shit, no wonder Victor's so screwed up. I mean, who wouldn't be after that? But yeah, it does sound terrible being alone with these monsters for that long. Does sound rather gnarly. Does sound rather gnarly. Does anyone recall seeing the end of that lake? Oh yeah, I saw this one earlier. The end of the lake, the end of the Brundles. Yeah, we never really see the whole Brundles in its entirety. So we're not exactly sure how big of a body of water it is, but maybe we will see it at some point. Let me scroll down a little bit. We've got FM Honey in the house. What is up, FM? Good to see you, my friend. I hope you are enjoying your Friday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The Brundles being a massacre site from one of the earlier cycles would be interesting. And it could be. Again, we see this massacre that happened in 1978. And if this place is some weird sort of cycle, some weird sort of history that is repeating over and over and over again, then it stands to reason there might have been multiple massacres as well. So yeah, maybe there was another massacre before the 1978 massacre, and maybe the Brundles are the burial place for it. Who knows? But again, you start to look at the cycle of this place, as you mentioned, Tyler, and there is a lot of evidence pointing to there being some kind of weird kind of loop being played over and over and over again. We look at some of the characters and how much they very eerily parallel similar previous characters that were here during the 78 cycle, like Jade and Christopher, two characters that are going down very similar paths. We look at Tabitha and Miranda, two characters that are going down very similar paths. Victor and Ethan, two characters that are incredibly similar as well. So you do start to see these roles that might be kind of reoccurring over and over and over again. And if that is the case, maybe, again, there's been more than one massacre as well. Definitely possible. Definitely possible. Let's see what else we got. It's pretty close to the end of season 2, so there's a chance they will go back to that scene with Elgin early on in season 3. I suppose it's possible. I do suppose it's possible. It's there's and that's the thing I love about shows like this, when a season picks up right where a season ended. I'm not a big fan of shows that start off and there's this big time jump in between seasons. And I've had some really, really awesome shows that I've loved in the day that have done that have done it well at times. But in my experience, just my personal preference, I really enjoy when a new season starts off right where the old one ended and we don't have this big time jump. And I really love how From is seemingly following that format. Season 2 picks up literally right where season 1 ends, with Boyd down there in that shaft. And judging by some of the behind the scenes and some of the interviews that the creators have given, it sounds like they have stated that season 3 is going to pick up right where season 2 left off. So I love that there's no big time jump in between. I really do appreciate that. And it looks like we have a $5 super sticker from Choco Beauty. Thank you so much. And it is a cat. It is a cat. Wow, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. That's incredibly generous of you. Again, you guys have been so supportive of the channel. I can't thank each and every one of you enough for all the support you guys have shown us. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super sticker. And you guys know what that means, chat. I owe out a whoa. I owe out a whoa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. I mean, you guys really are the coolest chat in the entire fandom, the entire YouTube sphere. I've met some of the coolest people online right here in these chats during these Fromville streams. So I just can't thank everybody for creating a very awesome and welcoming community here for everyone. You guys are the freaking best. You guys are the freaking best. Let's see what else we got. Let me scroll down a little bit. The red thing is an old one, Cthulhu Red, or maybe Ankui. Maybe. I mean, there is a lot of heavy theories out there pointing to this red symbol being some kind of symbol of a Cthulhu-like being, and I suppose it's possible. Again, anything seems to be possible here in Fromville. I'm not 100% sure what it means, but I hope we dive a little bit more into that red symbol a little bit more, because they haven't even touched on that red symbol again. So hopefully they do. Hopefully they do. I went down that rabbit hole a few weeks ago. It's interesting. Uh-oh. Yeah. Interesting. I mean, we love diving down rabbit holes here on this channel, and especially during a show like this. This show is meant for, those kind of things. You know what I say? Strap on that tinfoil hat, dive into that rabbit hole, have fun with it. The monster under the rock looks like he was booby-trapped, and in the army, they opened the door and the sunlight killed him. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Like the first one that Jade sees down in the root cellar there. Is that the one you're referring to? Yeah, I mean, there's again a huge big kind of question mark there, and I do believe that's the first vision that Jade ever even has in this place, and that's the first time he actually sees the symbol. If this is what you're referring to, yeah, we see Jade down here in the root cellar. He sees the symbol for the very first time ever, and next thing we know, boom, we see this, crushed freaking corpse. And yeah, you look at the blood bleeding from the eyes and the mouth. I mean, was this potentially a monster that someone trapped? That's an interesting theory. That's an interesting theory. I like that. Yeah, that's an interesting one, Ty. It may be. Maybe. I mean, we've been wondering what the heck this dude is. And maybe he's a monster. Maybe this was a vision. Maybe Jade was seeing a vision of someone trapping one of the monsters under a boulder. I mean, it's an interesting theory. I mean, I suppose it could be possible. I suppose it could be possible. I just cannot believe that a super traumatized, mentally challenged child could survive in Fromville that long, even with help from a random stranger sometimes. No way. It is a little weird, right? I mean, especially when you look at Victor and you see how kind of stunted his development is. He's still like a 10-year-old kid stuck in an adult's body. I mean, being in a place like this that is so dangerous, yeah, you would think someone like Victor would have been one of the first people to get picked off. So it does kind of raise some questions, doesn't it, in terms of how did Victor really survive on his own here for so long? And like you said, even with some minimal help from the boy in white, it's still a little sus. It's still a little sus how exactly Victor survived for so long in this place, seemingly against all odds. So yeah, I hear you, Leah, and I think I agree with you a little bit there. It's a little sus. It's a little sus, for sure. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. We got Michael Jamal says, hey, I believe laying in water helps physics channel and focus better. Maybe that's what Elgin was doing. Ooh, interesting. Maybe. Yeah, there are certain things that are just, I mean, depending on your surroundings, some things just work a little bit better. So yeah, maybe it had something to do with that. I suppose that's possible. I feel part of Victor is very grown up and survivalist. Just his emotional skills are stunted. And that seems to be the case. Like emotionally, maturely, he's very stunted and very much still that 10-year-old child. But as you mentioned, there is that other side of Victor that is kind of capable of a little bit of at least rudimentary survival skills. I mean, he knows how to fire off a gun. he's clearly very well prepared and very well provisioned in terms of having the entire peach truck stash, that whole other second little home away from home that he has. He's got a clear kind of getaway route that was already planned at Colony House. We see the Colony House massacre start to happen, and Victor instantly already has a plan and an escape route mapped out. So yes, on many levels, he is still that 10-year-old child, but that doesn't mean he's not smart. That does not mean he's not smart. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got. I would love to see what people had to deal with in past cycles. If this place has been around for hundreds of years, not a spinoff because it would be depressing, everyone dies, but like one special episode. Yeah, I mean, it's, the writers have kind of hinted that they are going to be using flashbacks very sparingly. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of flashbacks. We'll probably get, in terms of the way they've been utilizing flashbacks up until this point is kind of how I'm expecting them to continue utilizing them, very sparingly. And when they do use them, it's to reveal something important to the plot. Like in season 1, we get the flashback episode of Boyd, and we finally find out how Boyd arrived here in Fromville. We finally find out how Boyd found the talismans. We finally found out how Boyd's wife died. So we do see some interesting reveals through flashbacks in season 1. And then in season 2, it's a little bit more of the same, where we get these flashbacks to Victor's childhood. And that's how we find out that Victor even had a sister. So I do think we will get some flashbacks here and there throughout the series, but I think they will use them sparingly like they have. We'll get a flashback here and there that might give us some kind of answer. But in terms of getting like an entire episode of all flashbacks, I would love to see something like that. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see that. Give us like a nice little insight into a totally other time period of From, the 1978 time period, or like you said, if this place has been here for hundreds of years, potentially, maybe even a sooner time period. But yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see that. So the Matthews have been gone for like 6 weeks. It's still 2022 in Fromland. Yes, it is. And that's the thing. Us as audience members, it might seem like at times that a lot of time has passed because we've watched 2 seasons up until this point that are 2 years worth of our time. 10 weeks of watching each episode week after week after week. So for us as an audience, sometimes it does seem like more time has passed than it actually has. But when we look at the context of the actual story of the actual show, yeah, I mean, it's only been like a month or 2 since the Matthews family first arrived. So yes, it is still 2022 inside the current Fromville setting. At least that's what it seems like it is. Seems like, again, the time is passing very slow there. We look at season 2, and from the beginning of season 2, from the first episode of season 2 to the last episode of season 2, we counted how many days, and I don't exactly have the exact day, but I think I remember some people counting out like the entire events of season 2 all take place within the span of like 2 weeks or so, I believe it was. So yeah, it might seem like a lot of time is passing for us, the audience, but for them, for the characters inside Fromville, not a whole lot of time has passed since the Matthews and Jade arrived. But yeah, it's very interesting that way. Yeah, Jeremy's gone all mushy on us. I know, Kiwi. I go mushy from time to time, right? I'll stop it. I will stop it. No more mushy Jeremy. What am I thinking? Shit. It's time to be, I guess I gotta be a little bit meaner. Shit. Speaking of the symbol, what's up with the variations of the symbol in Christopher's book? Exactly. What is going on with all of the different iterations of this symbol? Now, I personally really actually kind of like the hands on a clock theory that some people were bringing up in the Discord. Now, let's see here. I do believe I have a picture of all of the different symbols. And while all 3 of them are incredibly similar, they're a little bit different in terms of the lines going in different directions sometimes. Now, here we go. We have the lines going this way in one of them. We have the lines going this way in another. We have the lines going this way in another. So very similar symbols, but with slight variations to each one. And what exactly is that depicting? I have no idea. I have no idea. But part of me really kind of enjoyed that these were potentially hands on a clock. Maybe not a clock in the sense that we know, but a clock in the sense that this thing is maybe counting down time, that each different symbol is referring to a different point in time. And again, totally just tinfoily theory. There's not a whole lot of evidence to back any of that up, but I did think that was an interesting theory when the chat kind of brought it up. But yeah, I don't know. You guys' guess would be just as good as mine. And I guess I'll ask that. I'll ask everybody in the chat. What do you guys think about this symbol? Why exactly are we seeing kind of slight different variations of this symbol? And what do you guys think this might potentially mean? Or any theories that you guys have for the symbol at all? Anything at all? What exactly do you guys think about this symbol? Do you have any specific theories on why there's different versions? Or again, anything symbol related? I would love to hear everybody's theories on these symbols. Let's see what you guys have to say. The trees are moving. That's why the symbols are changing, I think. Now that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, Susie says when the trees move as well. Maybe. It does seem like the trees moving does bear some sort of significance. It's one of the very first things we see Victor doing outside behind Colony House, measuring the distance from Colony House to the tree line. And Victor does seem to have it seems like Victor is looking like he's almost a little bit worried that these trees have moved. Ethan asks, what does that mean? And Victor says he doesn't know yet. But it does seem like he's on the verge of trying to investigate something, that these trees are moving for a reason. Now, was that just an early kind of foreshadowing of the winter that ends up coming at the end of season 2? Was the trees moving just a early indication that the leaves were going to start falling off the trees and a winter was coming around? Or is there some other greater significance to these trees moving beyond just winter coming around, I guess is the question. But yeah, a road and a tree, says Vic. Ooh, interesting. May very well be. When the trees move, animals come out. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's early on when Boyd first gets stuck here. It seems like it seems like they're finding animals in the woods far more frequently than now. And I get the feeling that is probably because they have been breaking a lot of the quote-unquote rules. When Boyd first arrives there, his entire priority is making this town safe and keeping everybody safe in the town. His priority wasn't exactly trying to escape then. But we slowly start to see that once Boyd starts focusing on escape a little bit more, once Jim and Randall start focusing on escape a little bit more, once Jim and Jade start focusing on escape a little bit more and build the radio tower, it seems like slowly but surely, as these things start to happen, the forest is giving them less and less of a bounty. To the point where they're not finding any animals. By the time you get to like halfway through season 2, they're not finding any animals anymore. Like that has completely dried up. So yeah, I mean, what exactly was the cause of that? Why were they getting a lot of livestock at one point and getting next to none now? And the only thing I can think of is them actively trying to escape. We know whatever is in control of this place, whatever sentience, whatever deity, whatever Fromville is, whatever consciousness is at play here, it certainly does not want them escaping. It doesn't want them trying to escape. And we've seen, we hear Nathan's theory that when people try too hard to push out and find a way out, something quote unquote pushes back. And I think we see evidence of that as well at the end of season 1, where we see Jade and Jim building the radio tower, and then boom, we see something send a storm directly barreling right towards Colony House that takes out the radio tower. So whatever is in control of this place, whatever you want to call it, deity, God, sentience, whatever you want to call it, it definitely does not want these people trying to leave. And I think because they are trying to leave, they're not experiencing the benefits of having that bounty of the livestock. And even more than that, now it seems like the actual environment itself is turning on them, going from this perpetual state of summer that was always kind of very nice, the weather was always good here. Now all of a sudden we have this nasty winter moving in. So it seems like the town itself is literally turning on the people of Fromville. And again, that might be a consequence of them trying to escape, or it might even be a deeper consequence of Tabitha actually escaping. So yeah, I get the feeling I'm really looking forward to seeing how bad this winter is going to get. That's a big question I have going into season 3. How severe will this snow get? How severe will this cold get? Will we see a full-on blizzard at some point inside Fromville? Or the little minimal amount of snow that we see covering the ground in the trailer, will it never get worse than that? I don't know. I get the feeling it's going to get a little bit deeper. We do see, at least in some deeper parts of the forest, the snow starts to get deeper and deeper. In particular, when we see Cannibal Village, the snow looks much deeper. Much, much deeper. Now here, we see the snow is kind of barely covering the ground. We can even see, patches of grass that is shining through. So the snow's on the ground here, but there's not a whole lot of it. But then when we see that shot of Cannibal Village out here in the woods, again, another shot here of most likely Christy getting her foot caught in the trap. Seems like the snow is a little bit deeper here than it is in town. And then, of course, when we see Cannibal Village, it looks like it's much, much deeper. We got big old hills almost of snow right here. I mean, it looks way deeper here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how bad this winter is going to get and how much snow they are going to receive inside the town. But let's see what you guys were saying about some of these symbols. Kiwi says, I don't know if they are different symbols or just Christopher trying to perfect. Ooh, okay. Trying to perfect the picture of the single symbol. They are the same everywhere else we've seen them. That very well could be possible. That very well could be possible. I mean, when we look at these symbols, they do seem very, very similar, each one of them. They're only very, very slight variations, like super slight variations. They're all very similar. So no, that could be possible, Kiwi. Very sure, very well could be possible. It hasn't even been 3 whole weeks for the characters since the show began. Crazy to think about what's making Jade's hair grow so fast. Is he dousing his head with hair grow? Maybe. I mean, you do put on a good fact. I mean, Jade's hair is incredibly short when he first arrives. And here we are only a few weeks later, and it's incredibly long. Not incredibly long, but it's growing at a pretty quick rate. So yeah, that is interesting. I wish to see less of Randall. Oof, man, maybe you will. Maybe you will. Let's see what else we got. Each symbol is from a different time period of cycles of incidents. And that's an interesting theory. And I wouldn't be too surprised if something along those lines might end up being true. Because again, you look at all these symbols, and I really like the theory that they are potentially some weird forms of hands on a clock. And each symbol is pointing to a different time period. I like that theory. Again, it might not be true, but it is an interesting theory. I think the symbols are veins. Ooh, maybe rituals for different times of the year. Okay, interesting. Vines, excuse me. I mean, we do see that there are some kind of weird tree trunks or some kind of weird vines that are connected to this symbol and connected to the Ankui children. If that scene that Jade sees at the end of season 2 is any indication, it seems like something is going on with the tree roots that are kind of forming this symbol to begin with.
Everything's a system. Everything's connected. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Fuck my life!
Super sus. Super sus indeed. But yeah, very interesting to see how seemingly those tree roots right above Jade seem to form that symbol, although they kind of appear like tree roots. At least that's the closest thing they resemble anyway. And I also heard a very interesting theory, one that I actually kind of was thinking of myself as well. That we see Jade has a vision in season 1 when he and Jim are climbing that one tree to test out the radio. And that is where Jade has the vision of seeing all of these weird dismembered body parts hanging from tree branches. And me and someone else were thinking that that could potentially be the tree that is directly above the Ankui children. We see that the pathway is closed up now, but at some point that was wide open and the tree roots seem to be forming that symbol. So yeah, maybe some sort of, for lack of a better term, ritual or experiment was being had, and these Ankui children were being used to open some kind of portal or doorway. I always thought that was a very interesting theory surrounding that whole Ankui thing, that maybe, again, it was just one giant sacrifice to open a door. But who knows? I guess at the end of the day, we really have no idea what the hell is going on. But it is fun to theorize. It is fun to theorize. Also could relate to seasons changing. Maybe that's why we're seeing some different iterations of the symbol. The kind of slight variations, could each different variation represent a different seasonal change? Maybe that's interesting. I suppose it's possible. I suppose it is possible. And oh, it looks like we got a $4.99 super sticker. Wow, thank you so much. Let me pull this one up. We got a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Very much appreciate you. Wow, you guys have been, again, just incredibly supportive of the channel, and it really does mean everything, your support. It really keeps me going. So thank you guys so much for the support. And I owe this gal a whoa. Whoa! Thank you. Very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. The symbols are the tree roots. And yeah, it does seem like they are, right, Ty? At least in that vision, when Jade is seeing that vision, it looks like those tree roots are forming the symbol. But why is the question, I guess. What exactly is going on in that scene? What was happening to those children? And what was the ultimate goal of whatever experiment, ritual, sacrifice, whatever was going on there? What was the end game goal, I guess? I think the variants are simply different for each kid who is sacrificed. It's the same idea of the tree roots crossing when the trees move, but the sacrifices were done in different times during a cycle. Ooh, okay. That's interesting. Maybe each symbol is representing one of each Ankui children, maybe? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I suppose it's as plausible as anything else that we've theorized. And that's what's so fun about the earlier stages of this show. When you have a very well thought out mystery box style show like this, it really is, we're at the point now where almost any theory could potentially still be plausible. There hasn't been a whole lot that has just been outright 100% debunked. So that's what's fun in the earlier stages of these mystery box style of storytelling. We're still at the point where we're kind of early on, and anything could be possible. Once more seasons start to come out and we start to get more and more data points and more reveals, then we'll definitely slowly be able to get a much clearer picture, obviously. But right now is a very interesting time to be a From fan, because it's still shrouded in so much mystery that we still can have fun having these kind of tinfoil-y theories every once in a while, because there's just still so much we don't know. But yeah, awesome stuff. I think 3 lines in the symbol might represent past, present, and future, intersecting with an endless cycle represented by the circle. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Past, present, and future. I mean, we are getting a lot of at least references or hints to some kind of, not time travel, but other time periods, I guess you could say. We're seeing flashbacks to 1864, and Jade is seeing Civil War soldiers. So some kind of, there are other time periods, I guess, are playing some sort of factor within the narrative of the show. And again, we look at all of those numbers that Tabitha sees when that we see as the audience. I don't know if Tabitha even sees those dates at the lighthouse when she's in her vision. She has her back to him, and we as the audience can see them, but I don't think Tabitha ever actually sees those numbers. I mean, I suppose she could have seen them when she turns around and looks up at Jim and sees Jim screaming. She could have seen them then, but at least in the few angles that we get of that vision, it looks like these symbols are for our benefit, for the audience's benefit. I'm not 100% sure Tabitha even sees them in her vision. But what exactly are those numbers referring to? I mean, a lot of us definitely tend to think that they are referring to some kind of date. Each number is 4 digits, which of course is very suspiciously, maybe each one of them is a date. But who knows? I mean, maybe we'll find out that those numbers aren't dates at all, that they're referring to something totally different. But in terms of there being some kind of representation of some kind of cycle happening here, we are seeing some surrounding evidence that could be pointing to something like that for sure. Does Victor seem like a caretaker type for Fromville? And the boy in white assists him in ways. Now that Ethan sees him, the boy in white, Victor is training and teaching him. Ooh, interesting. That's an interesting theory, FM. It's an interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, could that potentially be one of the reasons why only Victor has survived here for so long by himself? Is he meant to be some sort of, as you mentioned, some sort of quote unquote caretaker of this place? I don't know. I don't know, but it's an interesting thought. It's a very interesting thought. I mean, it almost kind of defies rationality, the fact that he was able to survive by himself here for so long, even with the kind of limited help from the boy in white. Without talismans and just being a 10-year-old boy by yourself, yeah, I mean, it's how the heck did he survive this long? It's very sus. It's very sus. But no, I like that. I like that. Potentially that Victor is some kind of caretaker maybe for the Fromville as a whole. I suppose that's possible. I suppose that's possible. Let's see what else we got. The symbol is what it looks like from underneath the tree the Ankui kids were under. Yeah, interesting. And it does kind of come down to the matter of perspective, I guess, right? Because like you said, if the Ankui children are looking up at that symbol, they're seeing a totally different symbol as opposed to if someone was above it looking down. So, the matter of perception definitely comes into play there. So you're absolutely right, Ty. And maybe that could be a little bit of an answer as to why we're seeing some different iterations of some of these symbols. Maybe some of these symbols, maybe Christopher has been seeing these symbols from different perspectives. And maybe, I mean, we even get a little bit of hint to that in season 2 when Jade is in the bar and he's experimenting with all of the different colored glass and he's trying to see the symbol through a different light. Maybe there's something a little bit to that where your perception is key when it comes to looking at some of these symbols. Because, yeah, like you said, the Ankui children would have seen an entirely different version than people above it would have. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. I think the symbols show. I think the symbols show changes happen, and they mark time/changes. And the symbol Jade sees is a completion of a cycle. Maybe. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I like it. I like it. Yeah. Again, the symbols are another thing, just shrouded in mystery. These things are. Jade could be obsessed because the vines keep moving, so the symbol would be in constant flux, and maybe that's the case. I mean, if these vines did kind of grow and move to form that symbol, then what's to say they haven't moved and formed all of these other iterations of this symbol? So that's possible as well. Yeah, maybe Jade is going to be starting to kind of drive himself crazy when he starts seeing and comparing all of these different iterations of the same symbol, and it's kind of driving him mad because he kind of can't pinpoint anything down. I imagine it's a lot different trying to interpret one symbol as it is to try and interpret all of these different iterations of the same symbol. So no, that's interesting. That's definitely an interesting one. Let's see what else we got. Ant says, even if their radio worked in season 1, what were they going to say or do? I don't get it. I don't get it. What someone from the outside to do. And that was kind of my thinking as well. You're certainly not alone there, Ant. And I see where you're coming from because, yeah, I mean, even if you manage to get this radio signal out, what are you going to say exactly? It's not like you can draw directions and say, hey, I'm stuck here in this nightmarish place called Fromville. Here's how you get here. So yeah, it's incredibly interesting to see what their end game was, because even if they do get a signal out, that certainly doesn't mean they're going to get rescued. I mean, and that was very interesting. The whole town was kind of having this big hope that they were all going to maybe be going home soon if this radio signal got out. But you mentioned some very interesting points, and what the fuck were they planning? What was the ultimate plan? Even if this radio signal does make it to the real world, how is the real world going to get here to rescue them? So yeah, it might have been a flawed plan from the beginning. I do like the Schrodinger's cat reference to it, though, that Tom was bringing up, in terms of if Jade and Jim did manage to get some kind of signal out into the real world, at least then the real world would know that all these people that are missing aren't dead, that they are still alive and they're stuck somewhere. That's really the only benefit that they could have gleaned from that radio signal, because again, it's not like they can draw a map and say, hey, come pick me up in Fromville. So what would they have even done if they did reach the outside world? And if they did reach the outside world, what is Jim going to say? Hey, we're trapped in some weird nightmare realm with no hope of escape. And oh, by the way, these monsters come out at night and hunt us. And the only protection we have is this magic rock that we hang in the window. What? Like that person's going to hang up on you immediately or call the psych ward. So yeah, it might have been a flawed plan from the start. It might have been a flawed plan from the start. You do bring up some good points. What if the variations of the symbol are because they have to be just right to be activated to do what they do? Maybe maybe that's certain some kind of angle, some certain kind of specific angle of degree that they need to have the symbol in or be looking at it through. Who knows? I mean, and maybe that's why we're seeing all of these different iterations. Maybe Christopher was experimenting with different iterations of this symbol to try and reveal like which one would have given him the answer. Maybe. I don't know, but that's an interesting one too. I like it. Maybe if the three lines represent past, present, and future, each time lines intersect, it indicates time travel occurred in the cycle. So far, Jade has only seen one version of the symbol in his visions. That's interesting too, yes, because we look at Christopher's notebook, and yeah, it's got all these different iterations. But if you look back at every time Jade is seeing the vision of the symbol, it's the exact same one every time. And I know for 100% fact is because I've even gone back and checked. After we saw all of these different versions of this symbol, I thought, okay, what versions is Jade actually seeing? So I went back and tried to check on as many scenes as I could. And yes, Julie, you are right. It does look like every symbol that Jade is seeing is the exact same iteration of it over and over and over again. It doesn't seem like Jade is seeing these different representations of it that Christopher was writing down. So yeah, maybe Jade just hasn't seen the rest of the symbols yet. I suppose that's possible. I suppose that is possible. Because yeah, Jade keeps seeing this same one over and over and over again. He doesn't really see any of the other iterations to it. So that is a good point. That is a good point. Why was Christopher drawing multiple symbols where Jade seems to only be seeing one? I don't know. I don't know. What if Aunt Cooey is a person like Aunt Q? Also, doesn't it sound like that thing you'd do as a kid when you'd say girl into the fist around your lips with pinky out, and it sounds funny? I can't say I'm familiar with that personally. But no, I trust your word. I'm not familiar with that myself. Or maybe it's something if I saw her, I would recognize. But yeah, again, Aunt Cooey, incredibly mysterious, shrouded in mystery like everything else in this show. Now, when that Aunt Cooey episode first aired, I tried to do some research on the Aunt Cooey word, and that word doesn't seem to be an actual word in any language I could find. But I was able to find some abbreviated versions of that word, of Aunt Cooey. I couldn't find Aunt Cooey specifically. But I did manage to find some very interesting kind of abbreviated versions of the Ankui word. And the most interesting one that I found was a smaller abbreviated version of Ankui called Ankou, Ankou. And Ankou is a very interesting thing within mythology. And Ankou is apparently this kind of shepherd of lost souls. Its primary function is to bring lost souls that are stuck in the in-between, and it's supposed to bring them to the afterlife, bring them to the underworld, to hell even. And an Ankou can often be depicted as a skeleton-like figure that is often holding a scythe, very similar to a Grim Reaper kind of character. And the Ankou, basically its primary function is to shepherd the lost souls of the dead. So when I saw these Ankui children, I thought, are they yelling Ankui because they maybe think Tabitha is the Ankou? Are the Ankui children looking towards Tabitha because they think Tabitha can help them, quote unquote, move on? Because whatever happened to these children, it does seem like they are stuck in some kind of in-between state where they're not alive and they're not 100% dead. They're kind of stuck in the middle. And maybe they are looking for someone to, quote unquote, shepherd them to the afterlife. So that was the only thing I could find that was even close to Ankui, the abbreviated version of the word Ankou. And maybe, again, maybe these Ankui children, maybe they were thinking Tabitha is the Ankou that can bring them to their next life. I don't know. That's the closest thing I could find that has any kind of remote affiliation with some of the things we're seeing here in From. But again, Ankui probably means something totally different, but that's the closest thing I could find in my research anyway. But yeah, another big mystery. Add it to the list of mysteries that we need answered in season 3 and beyond. Like this, Ant says, I want to know more about the boy in white. Absolutely, I'm right there with you. Right there with you, my friend. Again, in terms of, like we were discussing earlier, in terms of which characters have kind of the most mysterious backstories and who we haven't learned much about. Victor obviously comes to mind as being one of the most mysterious characters and whose background we really don't know much about. But the boy in white, he's the one that takes the cake in terms of the, like, just not knowing anything at all about this character's backstory, who he was, what time period he's from. Was he human at one point? Did something happen to him that put him in this kind of spirit-like state? Is he similar to the Ankui children? Is he a similar entity to them? Was the boy in white potentially an Ankui children that maybe escaped at some point and didn't go through the ritual? Because when you look at the boy in white and you look at the Ankui children, they're dressed in very similar white clothing like this. Like you see this white kind of almost underclothes that all of these Ankui children are wearing. And then you look at the boy in white, he's wearing very similar clothes, very similar. And the boy in white and these Ankui children also share a ton of similarities as well in terms of being these kind of spirit-like creatures that only certain people can see. Like when the Ankui children were popping up, only Tabitha could see them. Julie was right near her, and Julie could not see the Ankui children. And we know the boy in white is very similar. Not everyone can see the boy in white. When he appears to Sarah and Boyd at the end of season 1, only Sarah can see and hear him. Boyd can't see the boy in white. Boyd had no idea the boy in white was even there. And then you look at the clothing, again, super similar clothing to what the Ankui children were wearing, only the boy in white isn't all mangled like the Ankui children are. But yeah, I mean, the similarities are kind of too similar to ignore in terms of how much the Ankui children and the boy in white kind of overlap. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, but there's a lot of similarities between the boy in white and the Ankui children, from their clothes and just the very nature of the entity and spirit being that they are. So yeah, I don't know, man, but the boy in white is definitely something that I really want to learn a little bit more about, because again, he's just, there's so much we don't know. And we don't even know what side he's on, if he's on the side of good, if he's really trying to help the survivors, or if he's kind of playing his own nefarious game and has his own plan entirely. I mean, we see him push Tabitha out the window and he says to her, "I'm sorry, this is the only way," which kind of indicates that he is trying to help, but this is the only way he can help. But then again, who knows? Who know? I mean, can we 100% be sure that he is trying to help or that he doesn't have some other kind of agenda? But yeah, hopefully we can learn a little bit more about the boy in white in season 3, because he is definitely one of the bigger mysteries on the show for sure. Definitely one of the bigger mysteries. Let's see what else we got. Yeah. Oh, my sweet summer child. Winter is coming. Indeed. Winter is indeed coming.
Oh, my sweet summer child. What do you know about fear? Fear is for the winter, when the snows fall 100 feet deep. Fear is for the long night, when the sun hides for years, and children are born and live and die, all in darkness. That is the time for fear, my little lord, when the white walkers move through the woods.
That is the time for fear, sweet summer child. Yeah, I think winter is going to be a very interesting aspect to the show. You know, the show's been in a very, you know, a state of summer for very long, ever since the whole show began. But now, slowly but surely, we are noticing this, you know, this winter that is coming around, and this is definitely one of the more exciting aspects I'm looking forward to in season 3. Because again, I really want to see how bad this winter is going to get. How bad is this snow going to get? And I part of me really wants to see just like a full-on blizzard inside Fromville. I would love to see that. I would love to see a full-on blizzard. And yes, Susie, I do. Damn, you got those clips ready to go. Gotta have those clips ready. Got to have those clips ready. You guys know me. I mean, you never know what clip you're gonna get.
All right, ding dongs, it's almost go time. Anybody fucks this up, you spend a night in the box.
You never know. You never know what clip you're gonna get.
What the hell is even that?
Yeah, we got clips. We got clips for any and all situations, it seems like. We got lots of clips. Yes, tales of the clips. Exactly, Susie. I want to know if the boy in white has a human, or was a human, or maybe he is a spirit or ghost. And that's exactly what I want to find out as well. Like, has he always been this weird kind of spirit-like entity? Or was he maybe human at some point? Because even as Sarah says, he's not really a boy. I mean, he presents himself and he is in the form of a young child, but we know at the very least he is decades old, maybe even older. I mean, if he was in the same form when Victor was a child, he's at least 50 years old, maybe older. So yeah, it's yeah, it stands to reason that, you know, if he was human at one point, something weird and maybe tragic happened to him. Any other Jade clips? I do. Yeah, I think I have a Jade clip or two I can play, and I always like to accommodate the chat. Actually, yes. One of my favorite scenes in the entire series is actually a Jade clip, and I know we talked about this one either last week or the week before, but it is one of my personal favorite scenes, and it is just so happens to be a Jade clip.
You know, I grew up in France with my grandma. She died when I was 12. I had to come back to the States. I was crying at the airport. And this nice lady bought me a soda. I told her what was wrong. She said to me, "They come with you when you go." I guess what I'm just trying to say is, don't be sad. I'll come with you when you go.
Love that clip. Absolutely love that clip, because that was like one of the first times we really got to see, some of the deeper layers of Jade. They start to peel back the layers on the character of Jade from that point on. Where up until that point, he was, very shallow, very, very arrogant, very kind of quick and witty. He didn't really show that side of him too much, but we see that scene and we see that Jade has really come to really respect and appreciate Tien Chen up until that point. Tien Chen gave him a place to live, put a roof over his head. She's cooking for him every night. Tien Chen, in a sense, became his kind of surrogate mother almost. So you could really see that bond developing between the two of them. Even though they could hardly understand each other, they could understand each other. So yeah, I really like the relationship between Jade and Tien Chen. I feel like it's one of the more organic relationships on the show in terms of just this pure relationship between the two, and both are kind of filling a role that the other needs, especially in that scene where Tien Chen, this is at that point in that scene, that's right at the end of season 1, when the entire town thinks that they might be leaving soon. And Tien Chen is starting to get sad because she doesn't want to leave her husband here. She doesn't want to leave her husband behind in Fromville. And Jade kind of just gives her this perfect kind of allegory, trying to let her know, don't worry. When you leave, he'll be coming with you when you go. So it was good. I mean, you got to see a very just really organic scene that developed supernaturally, where you see both of these characters playing a very specific role that each other needs. Jade, with Tien Chen, she's playing the motherly role that Jade very much needs. He needs that kind of disciplinary figure in his life. So when he's kind of acting like a brat and he doesn't want to come down for dinner, Tien Chen can go up and kind of crack the whip on him, and he's like, okay. He respects her in that regard. And on the other hand, Tien Chen she's grieving in that moment, and she's looking for something, or she needed someone in that moment to let her know that it is okay to leave this place, that you're not abandoning your husband if you do leave. So it's just, again, a very natural, organic scene that just develops, where you see two characters just filling very simple and human roles that each other need. So yeah, it's nice to see the deeper layer of Jade every once in a while. I know, Susie, don't even bring it up. Don't even bring it up, Susie. I am crying. We're all crying. She's definitely done so. I'm worried. I am worried, man. I'm not going to lie. I am super worried about the longevity of Tien Chen. It does seem like she is up to be on the chopping block in season 3. Yeah, I'm super worried about her. I am super worried about Tien Chen. It's especially when we see her out at night and most likely surrounded by monsters. Here we see Victor in the background. It looks like Victor is wrangling up some of the livestock that has gotten loose. And you guys have heard my opinion, I'm sure, ad nauseum at my theory multiple times at this point. I very much think that the monsters are using these livestock to set an ambush for the people of the town. I mean, if this livestock does get out at night, especially right now when the food shortage is at an all-time high, they've never needed the few animals that they have left more than now. So if anything is going to risk them leaving the safety of their homes at night and braving going outside, it would be to save this livestock. So I do think that's what's happening here in this scene, and I do think it's going to end tragically. I think the monsters are going to use it for the perfect opportunity to ambush them. And Tien Chen might get caught in the crossfire, and who knows, maybe even Tien Chen is the character that is in the barn with Boyd. Boyd is clearly being forced to watch something horrific in front of him. And who knows, maybe it's Tien Chen's death that he's witnessing. Who knows? I certainly hope not. But yeah, I'm right there with you, Susie. We're worried about Tien Chen. We are worried about Tien Chen. Jeremy's so quick with these clips at his fingertips. I need to learn where to get clips so I can use them on my live streams coming up. I have loads of screenshots, but not clips. I got you. I will help you out with some clips. There's a lot of super similar and super easy screen recording apps that you can get. You can screen record any clip that you want and upload it directly to StreamYard. I'll show you everything. I'll show you how to do it, and I'll help you out with setting some of it up if need be. I'll definitely help you out there. No problemo. And that goes for anybody in the chat. If any of you are ever thinking of starting your own YouTube channel or anything like that, and you ever have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to me, either in the comment sections or right in the Discord. Never hesitate. I'm usually always available. If I don't see the message right away, I will eventually see it. But I'm always here to help. If anyone ever has, I'm no expert by any means, so I don't want to come off like I'm some expert. I'm certainly not. There's so much that I'm still learning every day. But in terms of knowing the basics of streaming, I can help out a little bit. So if anyone was ever thinking of starting their own channel, like Julie is doing right now, like Scarlett and Dana did last year, I am always here and available to help in a small capacity and help at least show you guys the basics. So if anyone's ever looking to start a channel, don't hesitate to hit me up. I am here to help. I was trying to find the Creepy Mask episode when I saw Are You Afraid of the Dark was on the Paramount, but but then I figured out it was from Goosebumps. Ooh, okay. I haven't seen, man, I can't even remember the last time I've seen Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps. I haven't watched either in, man, well over a decade, maybe even 2 decades. Shit. I used to love Are You Afraid of the Dark, though. I loved that show back in the day. It's just something about it. Yes, it's kind of cheesy and campy and kind of after school specially in terms of the budget, but it was just good storytelling. I mean, it was low budget, but it was very good storytelling and it was fun. So yeah, I liked the original Are You Afraid of the Dark. I thought it was very interesting. It had a certain spirit to it, I guess you could say. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling down. Yeah, never trust anyone who wears white after September. Yeah, don't you know you're not supposed to wear white after Labor Day? Yeah, don't trust. Jade was pissed when some Colony House members had to move in with him, Kenny, and his moms. Not just Colony House. He was pissed at the Colony House members. He was very pissed about that. It looks like he was even more pissed, it seems, after the Colony House people left and the Matthews family had to kind of move in. And that's one of those clips I keep forgetting to upload to my StreamYard because that's my second favorite line from Jade in the entire series. Great, just when we get rid of the 3 smelly hippies from Colony House, now we got to deal with you people. So yeah, that is a great line. Jade is he is the best. He is the absolute best. And yes, if you guys haven't already, definitely consider subscribing to Julie's channel. She has started her own channel. I'm super proud of her. I know she's going to do well. And you guys know Julie, anyone who's been a regular here for a little while. She's a newer member of the community, but she has hit the ground running and has had some awesome theories and has been a very positive influence in the fandom already. And she is at 76 subscribers right now. 76 subscribers. I would love if we can get Julie to 100 subscribers. We just need 24 people. Are there 24 brave souls that are looking for another place to watch some awesome From content in the future? Do we have 24 brave souls that can click on this link and subscribe to Julie B's channel? Can we do it? Can we get her to 100, guys? Can we get her to 100? So anyone hasn't already, definitely consider giving her a sub. Definitely consider giving her a sub. 76 is a great number. It is a great start, but I would love to see her hit 100. That would be absolutely cool. But thank you, everybody who already has subscribed. I know a lot of you have already subscribed to her channel, and I can't thank you enough. This really is the coolest community and the most welcoming community I've ever been a part of. It's definitely my favorite fandom, especially right now when you look at all of the kind of hate that is going on right now in the House of the Dragon fandom. All of the hate that's being thrown at George, hate that's being thrown at the show. it can get exhausting sometimes. That's why this fandom and this group in particular, it's so refreshing to get on here and talk from with everybody, because it really is the coolest community I've ever been a part of. So on that regard, I just can't thank everybody enough for making this a very welcoming place for everyone, whether you're new to From or whether you've been here since day one. You guys have been super, super supportive, and I can't thank you all enough. Can't thank you all enough. But I am going to pin the link to Julie's channel to the top of the chat. So yeah, if anyone hasn't subscribed to Julie's channel and would like to, that would be absolutely awesome. I would love to see if we can get her to 100. And again, that goes for any of you in the chat. If any of you ever start up your own YouTube channel, definitely let me know, and I will do the exact same thing and try and get as many people over to the sub as possible. There's nothing better than growing this fandom. I definitely don't look, I know some people might look at other channels as competition, which it can be at times, but that's not me. I mean, in my opinion, more people talking about From, the better. Let's scream about this show from the rooftops. So if there's ever anybody in the chat that is ever starting up a YouTube channel, even if it's not a From YouTube channel, definitely let me know, and I will try my best to try and send a little bit of traffic your way. I know I don't have a huge audience, but I will certainly try my best. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Very much appreciate it. But this is a very interesting one. Black Diamond 9. Who's dying in season 3? And again, this has been, something I've been going back and forth on for a very long time in terms of, what characters are going to be killed off in season 3. Because I definitely get the feeling we are going to at least get one major character death, maybe 2. We might get 2. If the synopsis for season 3 that have recently been revealed are any indication, it looks like the town is going to be dealing with 2 tragedies in season 2. One that's going to be coming very early on, maybe right there in episode 1, and it looks like there's another one that's going to be coming right around the episode 7-8 area. So it looks like we might get not just 1, but 2 big character deaths in season 2. At the very least, we're going to get 1, because we know the episode 2 synopsis for season 3 states that the town bids farewell to one of their own. So that is a strong indication, at least, that we are going to lose a character in episode 1 or early in episode 2. But who's on the chopping block? As you asked right here, this is one of the, I love asking this question as well, and I'd love to get everybody's opinion in the chat. When you look at the entire cast of From, what character do you guys think is on the chopping block? Who do you think is not going to make it out of season 3? I know a lot of us are very worried for Tien Chen, so for the time being, let's exclude Tien Chen. Let's exclude Kenny's mother. Any other character? Are there any other characters in season 3 that you guys think will not make it out of season 3? Who is on the chopping block? And yeah, for me, obviously, I know Tien Chen is one, but if we're not counting her right now, I am also very worried about Fatima. I've stated this in the past, but I just get the feeling something is going to go very wrong with this pregnancy that Fatima is undergoing. And it looks like we are starting to see some signs in the trailers that this pregnancy is already having an adverse effect on her, which is way too soon for it to be affecting her in that manner, considering she literally just conceived like 2 days ago, and she's already showing signs of deterioration. So I am very worried about Fatima. I wouldn't be surprised I think if not Fatima, the baby isn't going to make it. There's no way both the baby and Fatima both live. It'll at least be one of them. That'll be my opinion. At least Fatima or the baby will die in season 3. But yeah, let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see what you guys are saying. Who do you guys think is on the chopping block for season 3? Let me scroll down here and see where I can see. Let's see what I can see. I lost my spot. I lost my spot, guys, but I will find it. I will find it. I will find my spot again, because I love seeing what you guys have to say when it comes to this topic right here. Who do you think is not going to make it? God dang it. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Where are we? Ugh. And anyone who's getting ready to dive into streaming, and Julie, you will definitely get to see this pretty soon as well. StreamYard can be very infuriating sometimes when it jumps and skips on you. Sometimes you'll be at a certain point in the chat and you'll be deliberately getting ready to start highlighting certain comments, and out of nowhere the entire StreamYard will just completely jump on you and bring you to a totally different part of the chat. It's incredibly problematic. So many people that have been using StreamYard have been complaining about this, and they have yet to fix this bug. So yeah, it's a little infuriating when the chat just jumps on you like that, especially when you are trying to bring up specific comments. But let's see what else we got. Mrs. Chen and Fatima says Wolf Spear. Yeah, two possibilities that are very much on the chopping block for sure. Maybe it's just Tabitha. Ooh, now that's an interesting one. Could Tabitha potentially die in season 3? I suppose it's possible. Susan says Sarah. Ooh, now Sarah's another interesting one. I'm looking forward to seeing what her storyline is going to be in season 3. It looks like, based off the trailer, when we get to that scene when Ethan opens the door at night and the granny monster comes in, it looks like it looks like Ethan and Julie escape out of the back of the house. And it looks like, of all people, Sarah comes to their rescue, because right afterwards we see Sarah grabbing up Ethan and telling Julie to be quiet. So it looks like when Ethan opens up that door and they have to make a run for their lives, it looks like Sarah comes to their rescue. And who knows, maybe she'll kill herself. Maybe she'll get herself killed protecting Ethan. It would be a very kind of interesting and ironic way for Sarah to die, considering Sarah literally tried to kill Ethan, and now all of a sudden she ends up dying protecting him. I mean, I don't know if you could call that full-on redemption, but it's kind of a redemptive act, if not full redemption for Sarah. Leah Bradley says Tien Chen. Yep, I mean, a lot of us really feel like she's on the chopping block, and I'm worried about her. I am super worried about her, not only for some of the scenes we're seeing in the trailers, but also the episode title as well. The episode 2 is titled When We Go, which is a very strange coincidence, and probably isn't a coincidence at all. It's probably most likely a callback to that scene that Jade and Tien Chen shared about They Come With You When You Go. That is literally the title of episode 2 in season 3. So yeah, I'm worried about Kenny's mom. I am worried about Tien Chen. Black Diamond says, I don't want Jim to die, but a few people I know think Jim is going to die because he's mentally isn't doing well. Yeah, and Jim, I know Jim has a lot of fans here in the chat, to say the least. And yeah, I do think Jim is going to have an interesting storyline, especially during the first half of season 3, excuse me. When Victor does come back to town without Tabitha, it's going to be very interesting to see how Jim reacts to this. I imagine he's going to be faced with, I know we've talked about this in the past, but I get the feeling he's going to be faced with two questions, two roads that he could potentially go down. Now, on one road, Jim could get as much information as he could out of Victor, go to that bottle faraway tree and try and go after Tabitha himself. But if he does that, he potentially risks making his kids orphans. I mean, they have already lost Tabitha. If they lose Jim, it's only going to be Julie and Ethan at that point. They'll be orphans at that point. So Jim is going to have a very interesting choice. Does he go after Tabitha and try and find out what happened to her and try and potentially bring her back? Or does Jim forego that urge to stay back and take care of the children? I think he's going to have an interesting choice to make. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing his storyline. Wolf Spear says Fatima as well. Fatima is on the chopping block. We got another vote for Kenny's mom. We got Pepsi throwing up a vote for Marielle. Okay. Well, I can certainly think of at least one character that would be very happy if Marielle died, and that would certainly be Kenny. If Marielle dies, it kind of opens up the door for Kenny to start getting closer to Christy again. So there is that. Silver linings. I think the sheriff might die, or a member of the RV family. Oof, our main characters. Our main characters, Tuxifer. And again, I feel like, I really don't like shows that have too much plot armor. And From does seem like it is one of those shows where really anybody could go at any given time. But I get the feeling Boyd, he's not going anywhere yet. I do think Boyd's storyline will ultimately end with him dying. I just don't think it's going to be in season 3. But I definitely think Boyd is heading for some kind of heroic sacrifice. He will sacrifice himself, and it will hopefully potentially lead to getting people out of Fromville or rescuing them. I just have a feeling that is where his storyline is heading, some kind of heroic sacrifice to save the town. Now, the RV family, Jim, Tabitha, Ethan, and Julie, part of me is starting to think that maybe Jim might have a similar fate as well, where Jim might end up sacrificing himself to save his family. I could totally see that being where his storyline ends. Now, I don't see it happening in season 3, but maybe later on in the final season or a later season, I could definitely see Jim potentially sacrificing himself to save his family. And maybe then he'll earn a little bit of redemption from the fan base, because we know Jim has a ton of fans in the chat. Everybody loves Jim, right, guys? You guys all love Jim, right? I'm not mistaken. And there's no Jim haters in the chat. Everybody loves Jim as far as I'm concerned, right? Even his man bun. Dale's an interesting character as well. It's an interesting choice. Could Dale be on the chopping block? And maybe. I feel like when it comes to secondary characters like Dale and some of the other members of Colony House and other members of the town, I feel like they're almost not red shirts, but they're very close to red shirts. And if anyone doesn't understand the red shirt reference, that's in reference to Star Trek. Now, Star Trek always had this kind of trope where these red shirt characters that always had the red shirts on, always died. It's like they were cannon fodder for whatever episode of Star Trek was happening at that point. So whenever you hear people referring to characters or extras or background characters or any character as quote-unquote red shirts, that's what they're referring to. Red shirt basically means this is an expendable character that is most likely going to get killed off. And when it comes to secondary characters in From, like your Dales and your Tillys and some of these other secondary characters, the Maris, I do feel like all of them are potential red shirts, where any single one of those characters could really quickly go at any given point, because they're not main characters. They're not too vital to the overall narrative. So yeah, Dale could go at any point. Tien Chen and Christy, Fromville trying to turn Kenny heel. Ooh, interesting, Tyler. And when you think about that, not only would losing Tien Chen and Christy devastate Kenny, but it would devastate the entire town as well. I mean, you think about the roles that Tien Chen and Christy fill. And that's another interesting thing as to the people that are getting stuck here in Fromville. It almost seems like whatever is bringing people here or trapping people here, it is trapping specific people here to fill specific roles. Like Tien Chen, her role in the town is to feed everybody. She's in charge of the diner. Without Tien Chen, I mean, we hear the skill that Sarah and everyone else refers to Tien Chen's cooking, that she can make a Salisbury steak out of a tire iron. She's so good. So losing Tien Chen would be not only devastating for Kenny, but it would kind of be devastating for the town as well, because she kind of feeds the entire town. And then, of course, you have Christy, which is the doctor of the town. You lose Christy, they're really going to be screwed. Yes, they technically have Mari now, but Mari's only a nurse. And while having a nurse is better than nothing, having a nurse is a far cry from having someone like Christy with real medical experience, and that was actually in her residency to become a real doctor. And you also have to worry about Marielle. I mean, she's an addict too at the end of the day. Will her addiction potentially get in the way of her caring for others if she all of a sudden is thrust into that role where she's the main medical care? Can she even handle a role like that? So yeah, losing Tien Chen and Christy would be devastating for the town, not just Kenny, but the town in general. That one dude that stabbed Ellis, that's Dale. So we got another vote for Dale. Ma Fatima will be fine. I hope so. I hope so. Kenny ain't never getting any. Yeah, poor Kenny, man. he certainly is never getting any while Marielle is around. If Kenny has any hope of sealing the deal with Christy, Marielle gots to go. Marielle has gots to go. It would be interesting if they find Tabitha's body, not knowing that she is actually in the real world. And I love that interesting idea as well. And if we were to see something like that, it could potentially, lean some kind of evidence into Abby's theory that you have to actually die here in Fromville to make it back to the real world. So yeah, I suppose it's possible. I mean, and there's even been some people theorizing that it might be Tabitha's body that is actually in that car. So again, it's an interesting theory. It's a very interesting theory that maybe potentially when someone travels to this lighthouse next to maybe try and investigate what happened to Tabitha, boom, they find her body right at the bottom of the lighthouse. That would be super trippy. Super trippy. Tian Chen is the only one I'm sure won't survive this season. Oof, yeah, she's the one I'm most worried about. She's definitely the one I am most worried about. I don't think it will be Christy, but maybe her fiance while wearing her shoes. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, we do have that one shot that seems to look like it could be Christy getting her foot caught in the bear trap. We look at that bear trap, and there are some distinct details that we notice. Not only are the jeans a very similar color to Christy's jeans, but we see the socks are pulled up over the jeans. Very much pulled up over the jeans. And when we look at some of the pictures that were recently released, particularly pictures from Christy, the actress, or the actress playing Christy anyway, we have this. Let me pull this up. It's almost like Christy is teasing us a little bit. We see that picture there of the foot in the bear trap, but now we also have this shot. And again, it almost seems like Christy's teasing us a little bit, doesn't it? Here we have this shot of Christy showing us her shoes with the socks over her jeans. Now, is this just one giant troll? Is Christy just trying to troll us? Or is this a little bit more evidence that that is her foot caught in the bear trap? We don't see a whole lot of characters running around with their socks over their jeans like this. Christy's the only person I've ever seen do this. So could this shot be a little bit more evidence that the sock thing that we're seeing in the trailer is indeed Christy's foot? I don't know, but it's an interesting picture for them to release. I mean, either they're trolling the hell out of us, or it's a hint. We also got this one that was recently posted to Instagram as well, and this is a scene from season 3 that seems to show Boyd and Ellis walking down the road. It definitely looks like it's still cold out there. They're definitely still dressed in some of their warmer weather. Ellis particularly looks pretty cold. So yeah, what the heck is going on in this scene? Where are Boyd and Ellis traveling to? I don't know. We also have this still that was recently released. They put out a new, really quick teaser trailer on their Twitter account, their X account. And this was one of the new stills from that quick little new bit of footage that we got. And we also hear some interesting dialogue in some of the new clips as well. And the dialogue is specifically Tabitha saying to someone that my family is trapped in a nightmarish place that they can't leave. So wherever Tabitha is in the real world, she is at least telling somebody about Fromville, or at least she's trying to tell somebody about Fromville. Because again, the dialogue was very specific. We heard Tabitha specifically talking about her family being stuck in a nightmare place where they can't leave. So it seems like Tabitha is going to be trying to convince somebody that Fromville is real. And then we also saw this that was released on Instagram as well. And this one's really hard to make out, but it does kind of look like it's a shot of Fatima. But we're not exactly sure what exactly it is a shot of. Hard to tell. But one thing we can see about the Boyd shot is here we see 308. 308, which indicates that this is season 3, episode 8. So whatever scene this is taking place in, it's most likely going to come in the 8th episode. That's usually what 308 is referring to. Season 3, episode 8. So yeah, we got some, not a whole lot of information to go on, but some interesting little tidbits that they have been kind of sharing lately. Oh, and they also shared this on their MGM Plus and from Twitter account. And it's a really interesting kind of crossword puzzle where you can find tons of from related words in here. I've only looked for a quick glance and I have already found a ton of them. We have Ankuy right here, Anghkooey. We have the boy in white, Boyinwhite. We have the music box, Musicbox. Tons more. We've got talisman, Talisman. So if anyone is looking for a challenge and you want to, and you want your own copy of this crossword puzzle to try and find as many from words as you can, there is a copy of it in our Discord. All you have to do is hop into the Discord and you can screenshot it or download it right from there. I'll throw it in the Discord again. It will be in the Fromville channel. So yeah, if anyone's looking for a fun kind of from related crossword puzzle, it's available there in the Discord. The only thing is, we don't have a key for it. There's no corresponding key to tell us how many words that are to be found in here. But there's a lot. Again, just off looking at it for 5-10 minutes, I found around 10 or 15 different from related words that are on here. From monster to Father Cautry, a lot of different names of characters you'll find on here as well. And there's a lot. There's a lot going on here. Colony House is another one that's on here. There's a lot of from related phrases that you can find on this thing. So yeah, I thought it's a fun little tidbit if anyone likes crossword puzzles. It is in the Discord for you guys to use at your leisure. And anyone that does start to dive into this crossword puzzle, if you do, throw some of the words that you end up finding in the Discord, and on our next stream, we can kind of compare and contrast how far each and every one of us got. Just a little interesting kind of fun thing, if you so choose, of course. You know, it's if crosswords aren't your thing, that is totally cool. Totally cool. But yeah, let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling up. Yeah, I really want to see what is going on here with Tabitha and her kind of real world storyline. There's been a lot of theorizing going around that Tabitha might return to Fromville as early as episode 4, that she might actually be one of the passengers in the ambulance that arrives. And I think that's possible. I think that is totally possible. I hope that's not the case. Personally, I feel like if she returns after only 4 episodes, that's kind of anticlimactic. Just for me personally. I know everybody has their preferences, which is totally cool. But I was very much hoping that Tabitha was going to have kind of a long journey ahead of her, that she was going to have to go on a pretty, tough and strenuous path to eventually find her way back into Fromville. But if she finds her way back in after only 4 episodes, just me personally, it just feels a little anticlimactic, and it feels like kind of not a waste, but a waste of a potentially very interesting storyline of Tabitha being out here in the real world trying to find her way back. There's just so many really intriguing things from a writing standpoint that a clever writer could do with a storyline like that. And I feel like, if nothing else, the writers on From have definitely showcased how clever they are at weaving intricate storylines. So just, from as an amateur writer myself, if I was in the writer's room, that would be the assignment that I would probably want the most, is fleshing out some of Tabitha's character's storyline in the real world. And I would definitely have it last a good while. Like, if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't even have Tabitha return to From in season 3 at all. Carry it out, carry it over into season 4 maybe even. But that's just my personal preference. I really hope Tabitha doesn't return too quick. because I think there's a lot of interesting possibilities with her being in the real world. But who knows? Who knows? But yes, we see the photos on the wall of Victor and Eloise. It seems to be Victor and Eloise anyway. This actress here looks a little different from the Eloise actress, but it looks similar enough that it definitely looks like it's her. And down here we see what could be Eloise and Victor. So yeah, that's been jumping out at us ever since this trailer dropped. Who exactly is this Henry character, and what connection does he have to Eloise and Victor's mom? I think the most popular theory going around right now is this is potentially Victor and Eloise's father. And the timeline and the age does potentially line up. The actors playing Victor and right around the same age that Eloise would be, because I believe Eloise and Victor are twins. So they would be right around their, early to mid 50s. And the actor playing Henry is in his 70s. So in terms of the age range, it could potentially fit that this character would be old enough to be Victor and Eloise's father. But I get the feeling if he's not their father, he's at least some kind of familial bond. If not the father, maybe some kind of uncle or something along those lines. But it does seem like it might be some kind of family member to Tabitha and Victor. Why else have the familial pictures on the wall like this? It's kind of a giveaway, I guess. But yeah, cannot wait to see what is going on here in this weird storyline that Tabitha is going to be going through. We did see some other leaked photos that show Tabitha, John Griffin, Jeff Pinker, Jack Bender, the director, and our new character, Henry, right here out on the street. And it looks like they are going to be filming some scenes in a car. It looks like there are some car scenes that they're going to be filming as well. So yeah, I cannot wait to see what's going on with Tabitha and her entire storyline. What exactly is she going to be getting up to? What clues is she going to be finding? And will she ultimately ever come across Eloise? I mean, that's my big hope for her storyline. I feel like the writers put Victor's lunchbox in Tabitha's possession for a specific reason, and that lunchbox would serve as the perfect catalyst to bring Eloise and Tabitha together. And part of me would really think it could be interesting if Tabitha does get closer and closer to finding Eloise, and only to find out that she's already dead, or maybe locked in some insane asylum somewhere. I feel like there's just so many interesting ways they could go with Tabitha's storyline. Weaving in Eloise, weaving in some other characters even. There's so many interesting things they could do with a storyline like that. But that's the route I would go. If I was writing it, I would have Tabitha following the trail of Eloise, getting closer and closer and closer, only to find out that she's been locked in an insane asylum, or worse, she's already dead. There's just so many awesome things they could do with that storyline. I can't wait to see what they did choose to do. But hopefully Tabitha doesn't return too quick. Hopefully it isn't too quick. Let's see what else we got. Tabitha needs to be with Victor. Those two mesh well together. They do. They very well do. In terms of the on-screen chemistry that Tabitha and Victor had, very, very well. And we saw Tabitha was the first one that ever really managed to kind of break down some of Victor's walls and get through to him. Whereas before, we've seen so many characters try to get through to Victor and try to get answers from him. And they usually tend to do it in a more aggressive manner. We see Jim's very aggressive with Victor early on. And even Jade. We see that one scene in season 2 where Jade starts to get kind of aggressive with Victor and telling him, he's like, hey, don't you want answers? Don't you want to go home? And we get that great line from Victor saying, this is my home. And I'll always love that line. And again, Scott McCord is one of my favorite actors on the show. And in terms of just pure acting skill, Scott McCord might be the best actor on the show. Just in my opinion, I love his performances. He's so good in his role. He's very good at his craft. But that was a very interesting thing, that Tabitha was one of the first people that managed to really kind of create a real rapport with Victor, where by the end of season 2, Tabitha is essentially starting to fill that kind of motherly role to Victor, where Victor really cares about her at the end. It seems like he's genuinely worried about her when she goes into that faraway tree. So yeah, I mean, as much as I don't want Tabitha to return too soon, there would be some silver linings at least that we would get more Tabitha and Victor scenes. So that is true, Susan. I do agree with you there. I do agree with you there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. We got so many awesome storylines to look forward to in season 3, guys, and we are super close. We are super, super, super close. I can't wait. I can't wait. It's just we got what, 16 days away now, actually 15 days away now if you are on the East Coast. So yes, we are getting closer and closer now, guys, to season 3 of From. And the From Twitter page actually recently just put out a pretty interesting kind of promo. And I guess I can play that real quick. And but first, we got a new member from K Brew. Wow, thank you so much, K Brew, for becoming a member. My friend, I'm sorry I didn't see this sooner. Wow, thank you so much. I very much appreciate that. It's always awesome to see people committing to the channel and becoming members. And of course, you guys have access to all of the custom emojis. And anyone who is a member of the channel, if you guys ever have any specific requests for some new emojis you want to see, let me know in the comment sections. It's hard to see them in the live chat here, but after the stream is over, and you can go down into the regular comment sections. If anyone ever has any suggestions for some specific From or any related emojis that you guys want to see, definitely let me know in the comment section. And if it's possible for me to make an emoji of it, I will definitely do it. I love taking requests. So again, anytime you guys have a specific emoji that you want made, let me know in the comment section and I will make it happen. But thank you so much, K Brew, for becoming a member, my friend. Very much appreciate you. And the chat knows what that means. A woe is on its way. Whoa! Whoa, indeed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all of the support you guys have all shown us. You guys have just been incredibly, incredibly supportive. Incredibly supportive. But yeah, the From X/Twitter, whatever you refer to it these days, I have a trouble calling Twitter X. I just feel like X is the stupidest name for a platform. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I just feel like calling Twitter X just feels weird. I don't know. I don't know. I'll kind of always refer to it as Twitter because it's kind of more recognizable. It's a more recognizable name than just saying X, I guess. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just weird, which I know I am. That's cool. But they have the From Twitter page has recently put out a pretty interesting promo where they go back and they kind of do a quick little recap on all of the events that happened in season 2. So I'm going to play that again real quick before we get ready to close things down. But I thought it was pretty interesting. It's a quick little rundown for anyone who needs a quick little refresher on some of the events that happened in the 2nd season.
A bus pulls into the town. We have new people who are really, really scared.
We got this one,
Mario.
Christy's fiance. We got Elgin.
He starts seeing dreams and stuff.
The house falls down.
Marielle, Christy, kiss, haircut.
Gets possessed by some dimension of the town.
Then you've got Boyd in a chamber.
Boyd has to get out of the chamber. He meets Martin. Martin gives him worms.
Found out Sarah took my dad's life.
Everyone hates Sarah.
Then Tabitha is trapped in the tunnels.
Victor helped Tabitha escape from the tunnels.
Tabitha's having visions of ghost children that are taking somewhere. Jade's having visions of a symbol.
And he's trying to figure out what the symbol is.
Brundle and I just fight, and then he ties me to a tree.
He actually starts to see a ballerina. Who knows why?
And then just music box puts everybody to sleep, which is supposed to, but then when they go to sleep, now they're getting tortured. It's like a nightmare that never ends.
We are kidnapped, us and Marielle.
Yes.
What is this place? Is it a simulation? Is it an experiment?
Then what happens?
Pregnant.
Pregnant.
We get married.
Oh, yeah.
And his wife shows up and he has to deal with her again. But eventually he gets rid of his wife. He gets rid of the worms.
He gives them to the monster, kills Smiley, gives me a blood transfusion.
I tell Boyd he has to break the music box.
He destroys the music box.
People wake up.
And he saves the town. But not really.
Little boy pushed me and then I end up in the hospital.
Boom, boom, boom.
People are still trapped in a town full of monsters.
Still trapped indeed. Still trapped indeed, and still forced to look at the unfortunate haircut of Christy for another season, it seems. I miss that beautiful looking hair that Christy had in season 1. I do miss it, but yeah, there it is, folks. A nice quick little recap of some of the events in season 2. I thought it was a really cool video, but yeah, oh, that haircut is horrifying. And it's funny that even Kenny mentions the haircut in the freaking recap. It's one of the first things we hear in the recap. Kenny goes, "Uh-oh, haircut." So yeah, even Kenny kind of mentions the haircut in the recap, which was pretty funny, I thought. Was pretty funny. But yeah, here we go, guys. We are getting closer and closer to From season 3, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Put Bonnie Tyler in the jukebox for clips, lol. Yes. Yes, indeed. But I can't wait, guys. This is again, it's getting closer and closer now. We are just the premiere, the starting line, it's in sight. It is. We're getting closer and closer now. Each day we get one step closer to that season 3 premiere. Now we are just 15 days away, 16 if you are still on the West Coast. But yeah, I cannot wait. We are just over 2 weeks away. We have 2 more Sundays to get through, and then boom, From will be here. And of course, we are continuing our From season 2 watch parties in the Discord every Sunday night. We have been rewatching season 2. We've already watched episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. This Sunday we will be watching episode 5 and 6, and maybe even 7. If we can get 3 episodes in, we'll get 3 episodes in, just so we can kind of finish before season 3 gets here. But yes, we are going to continue our season 2 rewatch party this Sunday in the Discord, so definitely be on the lookout for that. I will put out a reminder well before it's going to start. It'll probably start around 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern, right around the same time we usually stream, maybe an hour earlier. If we can potentially get 3 episodes in, maybe we'll start an hour earlier than we usually do. And of course, tomorrow we will be live as well for our normal Saturday stream. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. We will be diving much deeper into all things from season 3 tomorrow. And there's some other news that we are definitely going to be talking about as well. And I look forward to the Saturday shows, because the Saturday show is the one show that I've been doing with Snuggie and Aldous for, man, going on 3 years now. We've been doing our Saturday show. And they have very hectic schedules when it comes to their job, so they're not able to kind of join these streams during the middle of the week. And Ravener will be back too. Ravener he's dealing with some health issues, and I'm sure he will be back when he is feeling better. So anyone in the chat, definitely send Ravener some positive vibes, and hopefully he gets well soon, because we definitely miss him. But I really look forward to the Saturday shows, because again, that's kind of the only night that I'm able to stream with Snuggie and Aldous. And we all love Snuggie and Aldous, of course. They're great members of the community. We have Aldous, of course, to thank for the awesome intro here on our live streams that we all love. So we will definitely be live tomorrow night. Again, either 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern, one of the two. We usually go live at either 9 or 10 on Saturday. So we will be live again tomorrow night, diving into more things from season 3. So definitely come back and hang out with us. And of course, Sunday night, we will be continuing our From season 3 watch party. And I look forward to that. I'm looking forward to finishing out rewatching season 2 before season 3 gets here. And of course, if you guys could consider it, subscribe to Julie B's channel if you haven't already. Again, she was getting closer and closer to 100 subs. Wow, she's at 82 now, guys. 82 subscribers. She is just 18 subs away. 18. If there's 18 brave souls here in the chat that would want to subscribe to Julie's channel, let's get her over that 100 subscriber mark. That would be awesome to see. And again, anyone out there in the chat, whether you're here live or you're watching this on the replay, if anyone out there is ever thinking about starting a YouTube channel, definitely let me know, and I will do the exact same thing for you that I'm doing here for Julie, that I did for Scarlett last year. I love seeing people start start up their own channels, especially when it's a channel that is built on something that you guys are truly passionate about, like we are very passionate about this show. So I am so proud of you, Julie. I'm sure you're going to get to that 100 subscriber mark anytime now, and I appreciate everybody in the chat who subscribed to Julie's channel. You guys are the absolute best, and that's what it's all about: having fun, putting out some good karma, putting out some good vibes, and making sure this fandom is as welcoming as it possibly can be for new and old fans alike. And that's something we try to do here on the channel. Whether you've been here from day one or whether this is your first stream you've ever caught, you are just as welcome here as anybody else. And that is something that will always be true here on this channel. And you'll never catch me theory shaming, because I have some of the craziest theories as well. Theory shaming is a very dark aspect of some sort of fandoms. And that was one thing that we always said we would never do here on this channel. It's something Ravener, Snuggy, Aldous, and myself very much believe in. Theory shaming is ugly, and it's rude, and it's definitely not something we will ever do on this channel. And that's one thing I really love about the From fandom in general. It really is a much more healthy and positive fandom than some of the other fandoms I've been a part. So I can't thank each and every one of you enough for making this an awesome place for us to come and hang out while we wait for From Season 3 to grace our screens. Awesome, Laura Butler just subscribed to Julie. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. You are absolutely awesome. And again, big thank you to everybody who subscribed to Julie's channel, whether it was tonight or on the previous streams, or whether you're watching this on the replay. Big thank you to everybody who subscribed to her channel. Now, if you are watching this on the replay and you're looking for the link, you can find the link to Julie's channel. It will be in the description of this stream. I've been putting her link in all of my descriptions lately because I really want to see her get to that 100 subscriber mark. It's a really awesome milestone to hit when you're first starting out. And I know that she is hardly and fastly working on putting out some of her first content pretty soon. So super, super awesome. So proud of you, Julie. Keep trucking away. I'm sure you're going to have an absolute blast up there. And yeah, big thank you to everybody who has subscribed to her channel. And of course, yes, we are sending our love to Lord Ravener. Hope he feels better, because we miss him. We miss him. Ravener is a vital part of our little Fromily here. So I miss the guy. I miss the guy. But his health is most important, so I want him to get better. We'll be here. We're not going anywhere. Whenever he's ready, he will be back. But I certainly don't want him to rush it, because his health is far more important. So again, big thank you to each and every one of you guys. You have been absolutely awesome. And of course, yes, the crossword, if anybody wants to take a look at the From crossword, it is available in our Discord. And if anyone hasn't joined the Discord yet, the link to joining our Discord is in the description as well. And Kiwi Skirt has been dropping our link to our Discord all night as well. You can check it out. If you scroll up a little bit, you will find our link to our Discord channel, the Fromville Discord, as it is called. And it really is such a fun place to hang out. I mean, when we look at, when you look at probably one of the biggest concentrations of fan theories, our Fromville Discord has probably a bigger, higher concentration of fan theories than maybe anywhere else online. It really is that extensive. There's hundreds of people in there that are just always in there talking From theories 24/7, and it really is so fun to kind of just dive in and talk theories with everybody else from people all over the world that are in that Discord. I'm so proud of what you guys have turned that Discord in, and all of that thanks goes to each and every one of you. I didn't do anything. All I did was set the thing up. You guys are the one who have made that Discord everything that it has become, and it really has become a kind of staple in the From fandom. I struggle to think of anywhere else that has a bigger concentration of fan theories than our Discord. And again, that is thanks to each and every one of you. So big thanks for everybody for contributing to that. Big thanks for everybody who's subscribing to Julie's channel. And huge, huge, massive thank you to each and every one of you who have been supporting our channel here. You guys have been absolutely incredibly supportive. I can't thank you all enough. And we are going to continue. We are going to continue. We are not going anywhere anytime soon. We will be diving into all things from Season 3 and beyond. So definitely join us on this crazy, crazy ride that we find ourselves on. But that is going to do it for us tonight. Again, I will be live again tomorrow night for our normal, regular Saturday show. And then Sunday, we will be continuing our Season 2 rewatch party of From directly in the Discord. And of course, Tuesday, we will be live again for another edition of the Fromville Hour. So big thank you to each and every one of you. We are definitely going to start getting a lot more and more active on the channel as we get closer and closer to From premiering. We are going to start pumping out the content pretty soon, streams and videos alike. I have a lot of fun events planned, a lot of fun call-in streams that we're going to be doing as well. And anybody is welcome to join when we do the call-in streams. I throw the link directly in the chat, and any one of you that want to hop on panel with us and hang out and talk some theories for a little bit, everybody is welcome when we do the call-in streams. So again, big thank you to each and every one of you. I hope everybody is enjoying their Friday. Get out there, enjoy the weekend. We got a beautiful weekend ahead of us, some awesome things to look forward to here on the channel and in the Discord. And I can't thank each and every one of you enough for all of the support. But until next time, stay safe out there in this crazy, crazy world that we find ourselves in. Be kind to one another. And as always, keep those tinfoil hats on, folks. Dive into that rabbit hole, and we will see you on the next one. Oh, and a post message. In a little bit, I am probably going to be doing some editing, but I'm going to be hanging out in the Discord voice chat in a little bit. So if anybody wants to come over and hang out in the Discord and pop into the voice chat, I'll be hanging out in there for a little bit before I go to sleep. So everybody is more than welcome to come on and pop on into the voice chat on Discord. I'll be hanging out over there in a little while. Everybody is welcome. So until next time, keep those tinfoil